As soon as you come in, go ahead and click that like button. All right. We are back. We are back once again. We'll talk about some other things, but first of all, let me go ahead and introduce the panel on who we got right now. Uh, to my right, we got Quan.
What's up, everybody?
We done. Hey, we done this before, man. So we didn't rock like half a whole show with just me and you. So we'll be good. So, but it's all good, man. And of course, man, I'm Jay Luke. Um, So before we get started, man, I want to actually take the time to say that me and Quan are just getting back from TMEA, and I am still recovering from TMEA. It has been an incredible journey. I enjoyed every single minute of it. So, shout outs to the Texas Music Educators Association convention. It was definitely a great time. Quan, what was your experience at TMEA, brother?
It felt good, honestly. Really going back in person. Uh, and I hate to say it like this, you don't appreciate certain things until it's maybe taken away from you. But going back for first of all, seeing colleagues, bless God in good health and in good spirits, that was always awesome. Um, I really got to hang with you and Rick, on a different level. I know we did in what that was 2019, but like it was really enlightening. And I bless God for, you brothers and the circle that you've involved me in. I think the highlight of my day is when, we just went out and kicked it and it was a table full of black distinguished gentlemen of various backgrounds, various education levels or whatnot, ranging from doctors to professionals to PhD students to future PhD students like yourself, future DMA students like myself. And we were just talking about music education as a whole, things we're endeavoring through. I mean, that was the highlight of the night, but as well as able to uh like just laugh, kick, and joke. But then at the drop of a dime, we were able to get a whole lesson on, buzzing exercises or curriculum and whatnot. It was a blessing, bro. And I think it was much needed for me.
Yeah, I definitely say that all that stuff was great. I will say this: I really hate that I missed that last breakfast because I wanted them omelets. I ain't get a chance to get them delicious omelets. I know you probably got them cake daddies, but I
And
didn't get
did.
that omelet,
And did.
and I was really upset that I couldn't make that last breakfast. Uh, it was top notch, man, and I missed out on it. But I did hit them wings before I left out of San Antonio. I had to hit them wing daddies before I left out of there. So,
Wings was awesome.
man, yeah, definitely. So shout out to TMEA and like once again and the experience that we had and the relationships that we were able to build there, man. So definitely, definitely, definitely. Other than that, man, anything else happen with you? Anything else going on?
Yeah. So for those who don't know, I was blessed to finally meet in person Dr. Latoya Webb, who's of course a Spartanite from Norfolk, that area. Uh, and so she had an outstanding PD session on diversity. I don't want to mispronounce it, but it was a DEI. Was it DEI?
Her it is DEI, but I think her presentation said DEIA.
Yeah, DEIA. So she had an outstanding one. I was blessed to meet her, and I found out that she have a conducting workshop at UT Austin. I was favored by my administration; they're sending me there, so I'll be participating in that conducting workshop this summer. So if anybody's interested in receiving one-on-one clinician time with the grace of Jerry Junkin, uh, Dr. Latoya Webb, and other UT Austin faculty and staff. I think that's awesome. Uh, so I'll be going to that. And also, shout out to Eric Jimenez. Um, I'm looking at his face, but I don't want to mispronounce his name. But brother Jesse from Wall Trip High School, they had an outstanding PD session as well, man, about diversity, and I appreciate what Team EA is trying to do because even though we're having specifics about diversity, it's also broad to where people of non-color could come there and be like, okay, maybe I was tripping, maybe I need to do this and improve. So that's what's been going on with me. I'm just continuously investing in myself.
Yeah, man, and that's actually dope. And real talk, that I went to a lot of diversity sessions, and a lot of those diversity sessions, there's a lot of things that I actually want to talk about, that really are not along the lines of any of the topics that I have today. But one thing that I did want to talk about is I find it very disturbing, and and you can correct me if I'm wrong, right? But I find it very disturbing when we're in these professional settings as music educators, and there's not enough chocolate in the room. That for me is one of the things that bothers me the most. It's not enough people who look like us who are in the room, and for me, I have a problem with that. When you walk, and let's be very clear. TMEA, Texas Music Educators Association Convention, is one of the largest in the country, right? These are educators who are coming from not just the state of Texas, but all around the world. Um, and I find it very interesting that there are not enough of us in there receiving the knowledge to be better. And so that within itself truly, truly bothers me. And then there's a second part to that when you were talking about the diversity um, seminars. There are a lot of diversity seminars that actually happen during TMEA,
Mhm.
and I just find it very interesting, um, the amount of people who feel as though they're not contributing to those, or contributing to diverse cultures. Um, and then another thing, and I think that brother Rodney just said it in the chat. Oh, six, bro. But it's interesting to have diversity conversations from people that don't look like us. Um, and so, and that doesn't mean that they're not able to give out the knowledge. I just found it very interesting. Um, I just, those are the things that just kind of popped out in my head. Shout out to brother Kevin Jones. He actually did do a seminar on assessment and diversity that I was able to not only attend, but I was able to introduce him as well. And I think Dr. Constance McCoy, she gave one as well. So there are a lot of people out there, Dr. Latoya Webb, there are a lot of people out there who are doing these seminars. But I find it very interesting that people just are not aware of what they may think they're doing the right thing, but they probably aren't.
Well, for me, I agree with what you're saying. Because unfortunately, if we just gonna keep it a buck, music is whitewashed, bro. I mean, it just is. And even from our aspect of our undergraduate studies of even music theory, I think Rick says it all the time. Like, why we don't study jazz studies? Now, it's a difference if you're coming into play, you know what I'm saying, and you don't know nothing, and then you get your foot wet. But then when you're starting to study, like, you should incorporate jazz aspects to and concepts to music theory. Um, My only issue is, bro, no lie, is a lot of the times, people slap that urban label on it, and they feel like just because it's urban or quote unquote Title One, that it's quote unquote, to some of the same issues that we're dealing with. And that, I think that's what frustrates me the most. I won't say the name of the school, but there was a particular session that I went to, and they was like, "This is an urban setting." Now, compare my urban setting to quote unquote their urban setting. They're affluent. They don't have to worry about being evicted from apartment complexes or public housing or things like that. But also, the school also had like 9 or 10 master teachers that will come on a rotation. That's a completely different aspect from what's you and I have possibly dealt with. And so that's why sometimes it's frustrating to me, because they slap that urban label or Title One label on the school, according to the socioeconomic status, but it's not the same. And I think they speak on it, but they possibly wouldn't survive in a school like I'm in, or that you taught in as well.
Yeah, this is one thing that I make sure that or I talk to people about, man. Every Title One is not created equal. Just because it's Title One does not necessarily mean that people don't have money. I mean, I'm just gonna keep it a buck. So, like, here's the two dynamics of the situation like this, and this is the best way that I can explain it. In one Title One school that I taught at, like, kids literally had no money. Like, I had came up in a situation where I used to charge like kids for reads and stuff like that, like 75 cent a read. You know what I'm saying? Now I did that, but I put it back in the account. But I also was trying to teach them responsibility. If you ain't trying to spend that money, then take care of your read. Play use your read properly. Blah blah blah, all that. And I got backlash from that, not from the parents,
Mhm.
because a lot of kids just couldn't afford 75 cent for a read. Like, real talk. Like 95% of the school was on free or reduced lunch. Like, that's what we're looking at, right? But then I went to another Title One school, thinking that this is in my younger time when I ain't know no better, thinking that all Title One schools are created equal. So
Mhm.
much so that I was like, I'm gonna tread lightly when dealing with finances with teachers. I mean, with parents. I literally had a parent come up to me and say, "Hey, look, Mr. Luke, let me be real with you. You can ask us for money. We got it. Like, you don't have to sugarcoat around it. If you need something, if you need us to spend money, just tell it. Just say it. All right." Like, in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, I'm thinking all Title Ones are created. They not. All Title Ones, all of those are not created equal. And I do find it very interesting that there are people who are teaching in quote unquote Title One areas, in urban areas, who can give give classes and master classes on how to teach in urban areas. They ain't all created equal, and so I mean, it is what it is, bro. I don't think it's, like I said, it is what it is. I'm not gonna spend too much time harping on that, because we do got some topics to get to, but it is what it is. Any final thoughts on all that stuff, bro?
No, I just think we just have to continuously doing better, and whatever cards we're dealt with, we just have to, handle them with the best ability that we overall can. Um, in regards of our particular settings or our, socioeconomic status of our students and whatnot, we just got to do the best we can. Everybody won't understand it, but I would like to see more people of color that could speak on our experiences. The not just the poverty rate, but sometimes they have to get a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have students that are 15 years old. Hey, they work. So I have to be mindful to adjust my schedule and empathize with them, to be like, hey, they can't come to every performance. That's because if I force that and beat that down, beat that down on them, then they're going to end up quitting. So
Facts. All right, let's go ahead and kick this thing off. Let's get to these topics, man. Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk, where we have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversations about band, HBCU band culture, music education, and more. Make sure that as soon as you come in, you smash that like button. God dang it. I still got a thing scrolling across the bottom. I ain't mean to do that. Boom. There we go. Smash that like button, man. As soon as you come in, smash that like button. And also, please make sure you subscribe to the network and turn on notifications. Also, please make sure that you find us on all your streaming networks at Real Talk That Talk. All right, let's get into this, man. Coming from TMEA, one of the things that really was playing on my brain is the band director. So we're gonna talk about the band director today. I know it's a couple of band directors in here who continuously check us out, and that's great. I also know that there's a couple band directors or former students of band directors who watch us, man. So it's all good. So we're gonna talk about the band director. So let me ask you this question. Let's go to the first topic. What is the role of the band director? What is the role of the band director? Quan, obviously.
Well, first of all, that depends on, first of all, where you are and who you're teaching. And when the reason why I say where you are is because we just said in a Title I area or a real urban area, it may look different. If you're the sole band director, that may look different. If you have a team of people, then honestly, you're a delegator. If you're the head band director, you have to be the visionary too. Like you have to have the type of sound that you want your band to reproduce. Because how can the kids follow you unless they truly see the vision that is clear? So first of all, the band director is the visionary. He's the delegator. He's the macro manager and micromanager when he needs to be. He's the teacher. He's also the constant student. He's also the real talk, the mom, the dad, the uncle. He's the person real talk that comes up with the fundraiser ideas. I mean, that's the band program overall is his baby, and he has to treat it like such. So when you say what is the band director, low key, he's everything. He's the heartbeat. He has to check the temperature of the students. He's the counselor. I mean, he's the report card checker. He's the person that he should be contacting these colleges for their audition requirements. He's the preparer. I mean, he's also the master teacher and musician, or should be. You know, it's so much that encapsulates that title. I know Mario's not here, but I know how he be taking his hats off and flipping it. But that's basically what the band director is. A person that wears 10,000 hats, but one person.
Okay. So you gave your thoughts from a perspective of like there's one band director, right? But like let me throw it another way, right? Like what if you are not the only band director? What if you got four other people on staff? Because then it changes for me, in my personal opinion, because now you're considered the quote unquote head band director. So the head band director then, in my personal opinion, changes. To me, at that point, the head band director is the administrator. So, and if we start looking at university programs, how many times do you see? Well, let me say this a different way. When we look at university programs, typically, in your opinion, is typically the head band director the one doing the most work?
So I only marched for one band, and Prof before he passed away, Prof Edwards, he had like this sound that he wanted to produce, but honestly, it was Prof Mark Gordon that was in front of us, uh, and he facilitated, specific rehearsal time, song rehearsals, introducing the music or whatnot. But Prof Ed was the fine tuner. That's what his job and visionary was. Uh, he gave the standard. Prof Gordon carried it out, and then at the time, I think Prof McQueen, he was still doing like the field shows and whatnot, and he was over there. So he had his team, but overall, now Prof Ed, he did the alma mater and he did the Star Spangled Banner. Uh, he was there at practice, but Prof Ed really was the the administrator, like you said, making sure that kids had their scholarships, making sure that we ate, making sure that we stayed in school, dealing with the higher ups. That was his job. So I agree. At that level, administrator.
So then, and this is why I get so I don't want to say confused, but torn between the directions of the band director, right? And I'm specifically talking about the head band director. And the reason why I'm saying that is because in most cases, the assistant band director is the one doing the work, and that's not to say that is a that's happening everywhere. That's an everywhere thing, right? But I do think in most cases, when you have more than one band director, the head band director in most cases is the administrator. So, and I'm only kind of coming from a university perspective because I can't really uh, dive into what happens in a secondary perspective. I know some secondary programs where I've never even known that there was a head band director because I thought the assistant was the head band director until I actually like went on their page and they were like director of bands, blah 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 blah, and I was like, who is this guy? Um, but when I'm looking specifically at the university, or the university level, it's really hard for me to be able to put a stamp on what that head band director's job is because most of the time, if they have more than one person on the staff, it's to delegate.
Hmm.
It's to say, all right, you writing the drill, you running the music, you doing X, Y, and Z. But then, if that's the case, does that diminish the role of the band director? Because so many times, if you really think about it, there are so many times when people gravitate more towards the assistant than the head.
Hmm. Well,
So
mhm. Go
no,
ahead.
go ahead. You got it.
No, so I mean, but it takes a village. You know what I'm saying? It's like we and this is just from my experience. So this is my truth. The band director that's on the podium the most, you're spending more time as a student. You're spending more time with him, right? Now, Prof. Edwards was approachable, but we wasn't hanging in his office because he had stuff to do. Even from your experience, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty sure like not too many people are hanging in Dr. Zachary's office like that. He's doing his duties. But when you and Rick were there, y'all was the ones on the podium pushing the music. So it's a different type of approach. So it's kind of like y'all big uncle or big brother when the headband director, his position may be father. Like I got to make sure this house is running properly. But you know what I'm saying? But my big brothers and big uncle, I know they got me. I think it's still the same and it's still vital because without that vision, it still don't function properly. But I'm entrusting these other brothers or other sisters who are my assistants, or even if a lady is ahead to carry out this vision for me. So I don't think it diminishes it. I just think this is my lane for this time. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm pretty sure when you become if that's your goal in play to become a director of bands, it's you may not have as much time to function in music rehearsal as much as you want to because you may be doing other administrative things. So until we get to that level, I don't know, homie. I don't know. But I don't think it diminishes it though.
So so here's a follow up question.
Mhm.
So the follow up question is this: do band directors, head band directors who have these situations where the administrator, not administrators, assistants are doing a gang of work, ever show appreciation to the other directors?
I don't know. I don't know. Like I say, I only march for
For
one.
one group. And,
Yeah.
and I'm just going off of what you may think and or your perspective. And the reason why I'm saying that is because when I look through the gambit of directors and situations and band programs and stuff, it's always the head out in the front, right? And don't get me wrong, I don't think that the head should not be in the front. I'm not saying that at all, right? Because at the end of the day, if something goes wrong or something goes right, that person is the quote unquote person that is responsible.
Mhm.
But when it comes to shaping the band and the sound of the band and drill and blah 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 blah, when you have a director, a head band director who's more or less delegating a lot of things, and then the assistant band directors are doing the work, but the head band director is getting the shine. Um, then my question is: have you ever seen situations, or do you believe in situations where those head band directors are not appreciative or showing the gratitude to those assistant band directors?
I'm pretty sure it's possibly somewhere, but like I say, the experiences that I've had, Prof Ed showed love to Prof Gordon, and even now my experience, I went to Langston, like I say, in the fall. Uh, Prof Gordon was showing love to his staff and what they were doing. You know, pumping them up, allowing them to run specific things while he was doing his due diligence, edifying them, publicly. So that's from what I've seen. But to each his own. My experience, honestly, with Dr. Little, when I met him in person for the Cracker Barrel, I went to their rehearsal. Um, he was doing the same thing, edifying his staff or whatnot. And so I think it just depends on that band director. But from what I've seen, those directors that I've seen at the collegiate level, their synergy was on point. So it just depends, bro.
Now, I will tell you this: Paul I. Adams told me something. I'm not going to tell you the story of how it ended up happening,
Mhm.
but I will say this. Um, and this kind of is going to bring this particular topic to a close. Um, there was a long conversation that happened prior to what he said, but he said the assistant band director's job is to make the head band director look good.
Yeah, but that's true though. I
It
mean,
hit me. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Say what you were about to say, and
because
I'm.
think about it. I mean, First Lady, well, not First Lady, but Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, her job is to make Joe Biden look good. Like when you a soldier, you a soldier. You know what I'm saying? So if that's the general, that is my job to make him look good. And I think you have to operate with that secondary seat with fidelity, because your aspirations is, I want somebody to hold me up like that too. You know what I'm saying? Like I look at you as my big brother. Like I ain't gonna never have you out here looking stupid. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, hey, bro, blah, 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 blah. That's as a brother and friend, that is my job. So I understand that. Now, if I had the context, and maybe we could talk offline, the context of what it was, I'd be like, damn, you know what I'm saying? But not to diminish it, but that is his job. Because in due season, I feel like that band director gonna show love.
Yeah, I'll tell you the context offline.
Yeah.
I'll definitely. I mean, it's not a bad context, but the way it transpired was kind of threw me for a loop.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, man, one of the things that I realized though in that conversation, it's almost difficult to be in that seat when you realize you may be stronger than that head band director. You may have slightly more knowledge than that head band director. And what I realized too is that you can't allow ego to get in your way as being an assistant band director, right? But the disconnect with that is the fact that when you are with a person, and not all band directors have this, like head band directors have this, but when you're with a band director who has a big ego, it's almost difficult, maybe, and not with everybody. I'm just speculating here, but
Right.
it's almost difficult to not feel a little uneasy because that guy is getting all of the praise but doing the minimal work. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's a really interesting situation, bro.
But I have a
Uh,
question. But but what if that headband director is putting in that same amount of hours? Like we say, what if he burning that midnight oil? What if he there with you? When he go get something to eat, he get you something to eat. Like, what if he down with you like that? Then what? Because like I said on this show, I'm gonna speak into existence. I am gonna be a director of bands, and I know that. That's my heart's desire and my prayer. And I know my faith is gonna get me there with my actions. The same Quan who I am now, I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose that humility. You know what I'm saying? And I want to continuously always look out for my staff. I've never had a staff before. So and the person that I have, Jay Robert, like that's my dog. And so I look at him, look out for him in every way possible. At the collegiate level, I want to do the same thing. Of course, we know the pay is going to be different. So you gotta break bread with them. You know what I'm saying? You gotta look out for them. I think that's what's proper. That's me. You know what I'm saying?
all right, cool, cool. What's going on, Chief?
What up, family? How y'all doing tonight,
Was
man?
a doctor.
Good, bro.
Hey, man.
I just want to tell you, bro. See, hold up. Anybody listening out there? This is this is real man stuff right here. We're gonna have a man moment right now. All right, this is real man stuff. Y'all got to be able to talk to your brothers. If especially if you call them brothers, you got to be real with them. I miss you, bro. I ain't seen you in a
Yeah.
minute. Love you, bro.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Yeah, much love, man. I miss y'all too, man. It's been a minute. Life has been throwing some haymakers, man.
Yeah,
Life has been
yeah.
throwing some haymakers, man. And I'm in it to win it though. God is too good. So we're gonna rock.
Amen.
We rock.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I mean,
Don't make me put the praise music on, bro, because
Hey,
I know we all need a shout moment, bro.
yeah.
But I know we'll chop it up. But yeah, yeah,
for sure.
absolutely, man,
For
absolutely.
sure.
It's
All
a
right,
panel of ice cold brothers.
Hey,
yeah,
you
it
already
is.
know.
The A5's in here right now,
Hey,
man.
you already
We
know.
holding it down. All right. But let's go ahead and keep it moving, man. Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk. We have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversations about band, HBCU band culture, music education, and more. As soon as you come in, hey man, don't wait. Go ahead and smash that like button. We have an '06 panel today, man. Rick ain't coming today, bro. So we're gonna have an '06 panel all day, man. All right. So so man, let's hold it down. Go ahead and smash that like button if you haven't already done so. Let's get these likes up. Also, please make sure you subscribe to the network and turn on notifications. And also check us out on all of your podcasting channels at Real Talk That Talk. All right, let's go ahead and keep it rolling, keep it rolling. So today, once again, we're sticking with the idea of band directors. All right, so let's get into it. What does it say, or what does it say when a director comes from multiple positions? What does it say when a band director comes from multiple positions? All right. Oh, what's up? What's up, Quan?
I'm about to say what you mean by that multiple positions? Like
So
pause.
my mind, bro.
You said that on top, baby. Anyway, but no, but no. So what I mean by multiple positions, uh, when you look at the person's various record. So let me, and I'm just throwing somebody out here. So dude was at Langston for like 2 years, and then turned around and was at Southern for a year, and then well, he probably wasn't gonna be at Southern if he ain't marching Southern, but just using it as an example, he was at Southern for a year, then Mississippi Valley for a year, and then you marching, or he coming to your school next, and it's like, all
to a
right,
band room to a band room near you.
right. So what does it say when a director comes from multiple positions? Chief, since you just came in, come on, bro, let's get it.
Yeah. I mean, it says a number of things. So, I mean, I tend to believe it has to do with the character of the person, plus it has to do with the administration that the person's coming from. School district situations. A person could just have been caught in the crossfire of bad situations, and 2 or 3 of those give you a poor name. So you can go to, I mean, I can speak for secondary positions, you know what I'm saying, talking about like high schools. It's a rotating door up in New Jersey, like for urban situations, because the school systems are poor in a lot of areas. So you're dealing with you know, a lot of elements that are out of control of the band directors. A lot of people are not hiring for band directors up here. Unfortunately, in the inner city schools, they're hiring for babysitters and people who give general music. They're not really hiring to build music programs, because music programs cost money. And because they cost a lot of money, they oftentimes don't want to support that. So it's not a surprise if a person is in and then out in another position and out, you know what I mean? However, it says something about I know for me, and I don't want to get too tough on people about this because everybody's situation is different, as I spoke to first, but you know, seeing it through sometimes, man. Sometimes seeing it through is important to be able to help these young people, because if you're leaving a school that's poor, the kids ain't leaving. You know what I'm saying? The kids are still there, and they're gonna become the citizens of our neighborhoods and the areas we live. So sometimes it's necessary to stick with programs, but that's the age-old situation. Many band directors stick in positions because they feel either sad for a situation, just want to help,
plant your
want to
feet and
hold.
take a brace, brother.
Right. Huh?
You got to plant your feet and take a brace, brother.
Right. So, you know, I feel like it's a lot of different situations that can happen to make people, you know, struggle in those areas. But for me personally, I've been at the same school for 11 years, you know, and I'm in the inner city and I'm up north in an area where there is not a lot of you know, thriving band programs. There are some at some of the performing arts schools, but even performing arts schools are struggling up here. So it depends where you are. I mean, I hear stories from you guys about being in like Texas and stuff like that. There's different situations down there because there has been an established culture at some point, and even a relative culture of band and support of music in some way. But not caring what happens at any program in anywhere in the whole Houston area is like that's not quite the way it is. So I mean, I'll be interested to hear what you guys got to say, because you come from different states. And I'm from a Midwest city. I teach in a up north place, so I'm got this northern vibe with band, and it's a bit different. So I love to hear what you guys got to say about it.
All right. Let's also welcome Derek to the panel. What's going on there, brother?
What up with you, bro?
What's going on, y'all?
What up,
You
though?
you're not on the Alpha train, but you good.
Yeah,
you
man,
can rock with us
gotta
tonight.
get it together, though. We side with it, bro. We side with it.
Well, no, not really. We symphonians. There we go. We symphonians.
There we go. Yeah, all hell, baby.
Yeah,
All
there
hell. There it is.
All right. There we go. All right. Quan, what does it say when a band director comes from multiple positions?
I would have to ask him. Like we just gonna have to have that tough conversation. What made you leave? Like I think Mario said it. Like what is, because not being ugly, when you speak about collegiate positions, that's different, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like that's different. Like that's, everybody knows, bro. You get in with the collegiate level, there's a period of suffering that you have to endeavor through to get to eventually that director of band's position. So I have to ask you, if I was the person interviewing, like how committed are you to this particular university? How, you know, what is your 5, 6, 7, 10-year plan? Not just for the band, but for the music department. Like I'm gonna have to question all of that. And real talk, I'm gonna have to do a thorough background check from every school for a character check, because you said he was at one school for 2 years, backdoor was at another school for 1 year. So it's kind of like, and this is a perfect analogy. They was talking about James Harden on today on what is it? A First Take. They was like, he now has a reputation of bailing when it gets tough. So if you got a reputation like that as a band director, I mean, why am I hiring you? Because like we all know, when you're building a program, if you're the director of bands, it's going to take about 3 to 4 years, maybe 5, to truly establish your culture for what you want, to get your kids to, you know, to that level where you want. So I would have to question. I'm gonna look at you, you know, a little bit sideways, but I'm gonna give you an opportunity. You know, if I see your credentials and I think, you know, you're a good candidate, but I am gonna give you the side eye, bro. That's a lot of changing, because in all the scenarios that you just use, the ink still wet on the paper before you left. So multiple positions at the collegiate level, yes, I'm gonna look at you sideways. Secondary, I'm gonna ask you, so why this school? You know, what happened here and what made you transition? Was it family issues? Was it, was you too far from the school? Because that may be an issue, a non-negotiable for a person. So it just depends.
References matter.
Facts.
References matter, bro. Put them shits on the resume.
Derek, what does it say when a director comes from multiple positions?
Oh man, I think it's two sides to that coin, man. I think some directors, if they're not happy where they're at, they're quick to leave like that. But at the same time, you got to. I think it's the verbiage. Is a director leaving, or are they being put out of these different schools? Some of these cats that's hopping from school to school are being dismissed from that school, and just because they're so talented, they get another opportunity at a whole another school, regardless of the reference. And then the same thing happens at that school, and it's a rotating door. But that's one side of the coin. Then you got some directors, man. They're leaving because either they're not feeling not accomplished, feeling the atmosphere they're working at, whether it be administration, students not getting paid enough. Maybe I've seen some people move because of family. I've seen band directors like, oh, I got to leave the state. I got to be with my family. As some band directors, I know that their family is in a whole different state from where their job is, and they've been waiting for a position to open up at another school in that state so they can move with their family. So, I agree with everybody, man. You got to go back to these references, man. I mean, what did you do at this school you were at? I don't think I can just characterize somebody just because they've had a lot of schools on their resume. I got to figure out, why do you have these schools on your resume? What did you do when you were here? What did your coworkers think of you? What did students think of you? That's a big thing. I think students, honestly, they might give you a little bit more insight than some of the coworkers. Tell you some things. Yeah, so like you said, we got to do this background investigation for you, man. See if you're solid or not. Everybody got their own reason for leaving. Until you do that investigation, you won't know. So I don't want to put nobody in a box like just because you got. I know great band directors have been in 5 schools in a span of like 11 years or something like that. But situations just happen, Nothing bad, no scandals, just what they had to do.
So let me throw a curveball on. Let me throw a curveball at y'all real quick. So this is a 2-parter, right? So the first curve is this. At every school the director has been at, there has been significant growth. And it's well known and documented. That's the first curve. The second curve is this. What if he's white?
What that got to do with it, bro?
I'm just asking. That's where the curve is. So you got the two-parter.
So he grows programs and he's white. Let's just add a little more meat on the bread. Is this urban schools or affluent?
Yes.
It's urban?
Urban, low socioeconomic. I'm throwing it all out there. You're going to get the whole kitchen sink today, bro.
That's a hell of a scenario, my dude.
Yeah, bro.
Exactly.
Where does that exist? Where is that?
But here's the reason why I'm asking that. It's 4 chocolate brothers on the panel. Well, everybody ain't chocolate. I'm chocolate. All right. Pause. But it's four brothers on the. Don't be looking at my skin like that. But no. But
Joe Byron.
So it's 4 brothers on the panel, right? If this panel was reversed and that question was asked, would you think the response would be the same? I take my keys out my pocket. Would you think the response would be the same?
Yeah, I don't think it would be much different. I mean, because I'm in an area where it's mad diverse, so there's everything up here. Like I'm in Jersey, so it's like a very, very diverse place. Now, if I was in Detroit and I said that, that would be different because in Detroit, it's like a super, super bliggity, bliggity, bliggity black city. So I don't know. It's different if you in an area where it's a lot of diversity. But I guess if you want to just make it difficult for the sake of just doing that, let's say we're in an urban city like Detroit and there's this, Caucasian, gentleman or young lady, and they're a band director and they're moving around the city and going to different schools, but they're effective at the schools they're going to. I mean, the first thing that would come to my mind is like, is this like selfish ambition? Are you moving because it's like this like your prerogative to try to say that you did these things? Because I know some band directors who lead like that. They lead with their ego in the front, and they lead with the idea that their ego is more important than everything. Like I helped these kids. Look what I did. You know what I mean? Look what I was able to accomplish. You know what I'm saying? And the more times I can do that, it's like conquering. It's like people who can't settle down. You know what I'm saying? It's like they constantly keep conquering stuff. It's like, yo, chill. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, teach his own. You know what I'm saying? If you're a school an administrator and you hire somebody who's school bouncing like that, then I mean that's a question that you got to ask yourself. Why did I hire somebody who continues to bounce like that?
So you said if it was reversed, so meaning if we was white and the person was black.
Oh, the person was black? Oh,
yeah.
No, it was so many scenarios. I'm just
I don't know. I read that wrong, my dude.
No. The scenario stays the same, but I said the reason why I'm asking that scenario is because if the situation was reversed, would your response be, or would you believe the response would be the same, right? Because like I originally asked if they had a good track record, like they've proven growth, and they were white. Quan's response was, what they got to do with it? But what I'm asking now is if all of us if the situation was reversed, do you think in most cases, because I always know that, because we're not talking about absolutes, right? Because there's no anything that's 100%, right? But do you think the response would be the same?
No. Because I've experienced it. And if I'm correct from what you're saying, if as a black man, I go to an affluent neighborhood or even low socioeconomic area with a white, like finance directors or whatnot, or other, would they treat me the same? No, they didn't. Now, the difference with me was when I came and I interviewed for this position, honestly, I was a highly qualified teacher. I taught at the time, I think maybe 7 or 8 years already. They were looking for a guy with drum corps experience. I just had finished working with Luke with Compass. I had it. And the dude literally was like, why you bounced around like that? Not to tell him I wasn't certified at the time. But you can look up, I'm good now. You know what I'm saying? I'm certified. I got my experience. At every school that I went to had growth. And it's crazy because every school that I went to, I started a band program and they grew. But they was like, nah. Literally, the dude was like, I don't think you prepared for this job. You need to go to a smaller school. That's what he told me.
Wow.
While reading somebody else's resume while I was asking somebody else the question. So that's a live situation. And it was crazy, but God works it out because the next job I interviewed was this one.
Amen. So and that is the reason why I asked that question, is because I know that, and I know experiences are different, and depending on the region and the area that you're at. Like Chief said, like everything up there is rainbow up there. Like everybody's
right. Yeah, you got all types. Everybody's represented up this joint, but it is segregated though. Okay, it's segregated. Like, so that's the thing about Newark City is like you have an area of the city where people who are Caribbean live, people who are Ecuadorian, Peruvian, Brazilian type of, people, South Americans. You got a place where all the black people, regular African American people live. You have a place where all the Hispanic, Portuguese, not Portuguese, Puerto Rican and Dominicans and stuff. So they have their sections of the city and they have schools that they go to. But that is represented there. But I mean, you will see people up here sometimes are looking for black band directors. They're looking for black administrators. They're looking for these things because they want that representation in their school because they don't know how to deal with that population. And they think that you are like like they hire one black guy and like, you know how to fix your people. Go ahead and deal with them.
But that sucks though.
It does.
Like that sucks. God,
you become like the, you know what I'm saying? The
I mean, but is that
kid whisper and shit? Like how am I supposed to
the black kid whisper? But is that any different than a male being hired at a school to be the prison guard? Like I use that analogy loosely, but like think about it. Like as soon as you are a male teacher, you get hired at a school. All right,
you security.
Right, go watch some kids. Like it's you got duty every duty station. Like you know what I'm saying. So I mean, I would say that that's pretty similar. Like you're the token black guy. You're the guy who has to wrangle the chocolate folk. You know what I'm saying. But just looking from the reverse aspect of it, I just find that very interesting. And like I said, I don't think it's a 100% thing because I don't think everybody's like that. But I think that there is a bunch of situations where that does exist, especially in Texas, because of the fact of the high standard when it comes to the marching arts. I'll go to the marching arts first. The high standards and the requirement from the marching arts and the expectation of the fact that there may be the idea that we as a people are incapable of doing the job. And I find that very interesting, especially when, there's proven growth. Now, I think the problem comes where it's not proven growth in the aspect of what they quote unquote see it. If that
I was going to say that growth from what standpoint,
right?
And what I mean by that, like, are we talking about these kids have no experience and they go from I didn't know how to put a reed and a ligature on my mouthpiece, and I learned how to play grade 3 music, or I went from 3 to 6. You know what I'm saying? Like, it depends on what we're referring to in terms of growth, because some people don't understand your plight, so they believe that they're gonna compare their top kids to your top kids and don't care what situations you may have been dealing with or where your kids actually came from. So we're looking at actual growth. The growth is exponentially more in one area if our kids are anywhere close to the kids who've had private lessons and been working in these type of affluent situations, who've had multiple directors at one school at the same time. Pull outs where you can go pull a kid out and you can go work with them for 45 minutes. That's not a thing that you see in most urban inner city schools. So if you have kids that are playing at the level of these kids, that growth level is crazy. But that's what you're talking about, I think, is like where people are looking at your growth has to be, well, this is an all-state audition. Can your kids play it or not? And at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, it should come down to like the ability to do something. But do you know that this kid, do you know what this kid deals with? Do you understand that, like, the dynamics of what goes behind, what's behind closed doors that they deal with to be able to get to this point? And so some people say it doesn't matter. Results are results. And then other people, some things get in the way, and it's just reality, regardless if you want to accept it or not. That's part of reality. And urban situations offers challenges.
Well, see, I mean, you said it, bro. Like, the thing about it in Texas, bro, you live and die by UIL. Like, that's the bottom line. Like you live and die by that, because to our counterparts who didn't attend HBCUs or whatnot, that's what's driven. That's their data. You know what I'm saying? That's their standardized test. So that's the first thing they do. Oh, how many times you went to UIL? How many ones do you have? How many divisions? So forth and so on. That's their standard. So for, like I say, a band director like you, if you had 8 kids and all of a sudden you got 32, that's growth. You established and built the program from the ground up. That's growth. Right. If you're affecting your community in a positive manner, that's growth. If you sending your kids to school, that's growth. But they looking at that data. They don't give 2 shits about you took TT from the hood and you was blessed her with to go to Norfolk. That's good.
Yeah, but
they
they
don't
right, and they don't even care about the fact because you go into HBCU, so they don't even care and they don't even value that point. They're
You
like,
feel
oh, you
me?
get them scholarships to go to y'all schools. I don't care about that. They can't play that well anyway, just like those universities can't, because
Right.
you're looking down on some of the educations that you're receiving at these universities.
The crazy thing that you say that, when I interviewed for that job, I asked that question. I said, how many kids went to to school on scholarship? Now, mind you, this was a Title I, II, and III school. I said, how many kids went to college on scholarship? Oh, we didn't have any this year. Like, that's what I'm saying. So everything that you're saying, and I think with Julian's point, if it's reverse, again, we have to be 10 times better. And I know people be like, nah, equality. Nah, it's not, bro. It's not. Not when you sit in them rooms. And even if your fine arts director may look like you, I hate to say it like this, pending the school that he graduated from, and like all skin folk ain't kinfolk. I'm telling you. It's different, bro. It's different.
That's the biggest factor right there.
Listen,
the school they came from, man.
Listen, When it comes, so it was 2 points that I was going to bring up a completely different point, but it's a point that I just had to bring up because going to TMEA is one of the things where you truly see that, because the reality is obviously there are black people and people of color who go to predominantly white institutions, right? But then in this particular realm, it becomes a real odd dissension when we start looking at the HBCU sector versus the PWI sector. It's like we went to this prestigious school and we are with them. I mean, we look like this, but we with them. We don't do what y'all do. Now, don't get me wrong. Once again, there are outliers. This is not 100%. So let's please not sit up here and say that that's the idea or the thought that I have. But what I'm saying is that there are these thoughts when it's like it's so frustrating to see. It's like you walk past them and you'll be like, hey, what's going on, bruh? You know what I'm saying? And they be like, hey, and then they'll go over to the group of, their white counterparts, and they'll be hanging with them, and like I said, there's nothing wrong with hanging with white people. There's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to the conversations that we have amongst each other, sometimes it's really odd to just be in those spaces sometimes, because it just feels really uncomfortable to have those conversations with them, because they're just so disconnected. That was the first thing that I was going to say. And then the second thing that I was going to say was, I don't remember, because we went off on that tangent and my brain kind of focused on that. But I'm gonna remember what I was going to say. But that one right there, definitely something that is always heavy in my mind.
You got that dad brain.
I do, bro. I got dad brain, and then I've been busy all day, bro. Band director life. We had sectionals this morning. I had to go clinic a band, and then I came in, and then so my brain is on 50,000 right now.
Yeah, you'd be like, can't remember the last thing I ate,
bruh. But no, man. That's what I was gonna say. So the other thing that I was gonna say is this: based on these particular situations that we're dealing with, or based on the situations that we're actually discussing, does that mean that we need to actually make ourselves a lot more available for other opportunities? This is what I mean. Being involved in drum corps, going to these conventions and actually getting involved in the dialogues and the conversations, and not just using it as a free vacation or a free trip, not going to a clinic, but I'm gonna go hang out and do absolutely nothing. Because I think that those are two things that I start to look at: being involved and being actively involved in these things, but also taking advantage of the opportunities that are given to you. we have these conventions and professional developments for us to be better and to get into these spaces and network with one another. And a lot of times, what we'll do, not all of us, because that ain't that. I always got to put that out there because somebody gonna say, "Well, it ain't all," because I don't do that. But what I'm saying is, a lot of times we'll go to these conventions and then we'll get there and all right, let's go chill, dog. They got these sessions going on. I'm so good. You know what I'm saying? I find that very interesting. So is that a conversation to open the door to say maybe we should actually be more focused on these things?
There's this balance. There's a tough balance between. I know what I've heard in some of the convention spaces. It's like when you know that the whole state is going to be like the voices that are in these conventions are going to be represented by people who have similar type of backgrounds and their schooling and every experience is going to be similar. We get the thing where if you don't say something, nobody knows it's a problem. But then you say something, and if you say it just one too many times, now you become a complainer, and people label you as, "Oh, see, look, they just complaining. You ain't really looking for a solution. You just want to complain." And be like, nah, you just want people to understand that your plight creates different, experiences for you, and it creates challenges that you have to, go through. Not as an excuse, but as a reason why it takes you longer to get to your journey. Not that you can't do it; it just takes you a little longer to get to that spot because of these issues. And so I think when you get on the state level, and Texas is so large and there's so many different like places like and things represented. So TMEA to me is like it's like larger than Midwest damn near. Like it's like TMEA is like just crazy grand. It's like it's so many people in music. It's all around. You said what?
I said, yeah, it's close. It's one of the largest in the country.
Yeah, like I was about to say, I think TMEA is probably the closest thing to Midwest. People go to TMEA like they go to Midwest, so it's like it's big time. So every state isn't like that though. So let me give you an example. We have music, like our state music conferences and stuff. None of the band directors in Newark, even know when it is, even know when stuff is. Like no, they don't reach out. Nobody in our district tells us. There's no information provided. You got to like go and search for stuff and find it yourself. And there's no one giving you that. So it's like, is that an excuse not to do this and the other? No, it's just a reason why people may miss stuff, or maybe you may not know what's going on, or maybe out of the loop. So I don't believe in making excuses. It just may take a little longer. In that conversation, yeah, it has to be opened up. But people, when they go to convention and they feel like they're having sessions that don't apply to them, they'll be like, yeah, when you have this situation, you can just depend on the other band director to come in and help you. Like the other band director, it's me, bro. It's me Dolo. But then they have different situations. Well, just depend on the band, on the the boosters to be able to support this and talk to your administrators where they can do this. Like yeah, you could just ask your school to get you a new timpani and fundraise and sell these oranges, and you can do like oranges for a timpani. That's a lot of oranges. So I'm just saying certain things feel like that's why people come in it with the almost like they're narcissists. Like not narcissists. They're like they come in as cynical. They're like, man, this shit ain't for me. Let's go get something to drink. And that's the vibe. Even though those events can actually be helpful because the voices in that rooms are needed.
That's true. I don't disagree with that. I mean, as a person who's been going to TMEA for the last 10 years, all them oranges. As a person as a person who's been going to TMEA for the last 10 years, I would definitely say my first 2 to 3 years of going to TMEA, I felt very impacted to go to a lot of the sessions. As I started getting more and more into it, I realized it was a lot of the same sessions over and over again, or sessions that didn't necessarily apply to my specific situation. Now that didn't mean I didn't go to the sessions, but I did. I went to a lot of. I went to fewer of them than I typically would because a lot of them didn't apply. Whereas this year, I felt like a lot of the sessions that they provided this year were spot on for a lot of people. So I mean, I definitely agree with what you're saying. A lot of people feel like a lot of those things don't apply. So that is something that people should look into. But also there is also that that sector of folks who just like, yo, I needed this break, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let's go get this drink. Like, I needed to
Register,
get out of this
register and go to
classroom,
the
dog.
room.
Right.
Register and go right to the
Absolutely.
room. Right.
Absolutely. All right, let's keep it moving, man. If you're just
Derek, would you
tuning
want to
in,
say something?
I was gonna
my
hold it.
bad, Derek. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
I had a question, man, because you brought up something earlier about getting involved like with like DCI and stuff like that. But for like say somebody like me, I have no experience whatsoever in DCI. I have no connections to DCI. How would somebody like me get invited to the area like that? And what can I contribute other than the musical knowledge that I know in my realm of music? And I think a lot of other band directors feel that same way. It's kind of like it's not our space. We don't have any knowledge of it. We don't have any connection to it. It's foreign to us.
So I know Quan wanted to say something, but I'm a use this phrase in which some people will understand and some people won't. To be one, ask one.
You feel me?
Okay.
I mean, that is the easiest way. Yeah, there you go.
There you
There we
go.
go. Yeah, there you go.
go.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
But but no, but no. I mean, that is really the easiest way to really kind of get involved. And the reason why I say that is because first of all, you gotta be involved in the circuit. You have to be, you gotta go to the shows and be at least, if not subscribed to flow marching, you gotta at least know what flow marching is, and look at some of these cores, some of these open class cores, some of these world class cores, some of these golly, I can't even think of the name right now. God dang it.
Guards and things, yeah.
Yeah, but look at all of those things, because what happens is, in most cases, not necessarily the world class cores, but a lot of those open class cores are always looking for new staff. And usually when the summer ends, just send your resume. That's usually what happens. You send your resume when they're looking for a new staff person, and that's how you get involved. You get involved with an open class core. Now, typically what they're going to do is they're going to bring you on and they're going to try you out and see, can you teach? Are you able to teach? And if you are able to get in front of that horn line and you're able to teach them and you're able to give them the knowledge, then you will be brought on. And if not, nice try, better luck next time. But my suggestion to you, and this goes for anybody, if anybody's out there who's looking to get into the activity, if you've aged out already, go to the lots. Go to performances, go to shows, and go sit in the lots and listen to the information that's being given. You can pick up a lot of information just by sitting in the lots. And then, like I said, just be a master teacher. Know your craft, know your instrument, understand the pedagogy of your instrument, and being able to teach the idiosyncrasies of your instrument. If you can do that and are able to teach the kids and understanding how certain things work on your instrument, send your resume in. The second thing is people. You are connected to myself. You are connected to Rick. You can ask, like, hey, y'all got X, Y, and Z going on? You know anybody who's looking for a staff? I mean, that's why I say, to be one, ask one. The only way that Quan got involved is because I was involved. You know how I got involved? Because Rick was involved. Because I never marched. I wanted to, but I never marched. But I got involved because Rick got me involved. So, it's I will tell you this: drum corps is a fraternity. It really is. It is a very tight knit fraternity.
I've heard.
And one that I've been very happy and proud to be indoctrinated into. But if you get in and you do well, you're part of the group. I've had plenty of people who've come to me and be like, "Hey, who you march for?" I'll be like, "I didn't march, but I tech for blase, blase, blase." Oh, all right, dope, cool. All right, how long did you tech for? What year? And then we get into, what's your favorite show? Who's your favorite corps? Mm-hmm. And then we start having those conversations. So, it is what it is, man. You just, to be one, ask one, and be very knowledgeable on your craft.
Only thing I wanted to say, Julian, like you said, to add to Derek's question was, do we need to be involved in it? In all actuality, we do. I mean, many people may not agree, but you do. The reality of it is this: to truly receive the type of payment that we want to have in without some of the issues that we're dealing with in urban areas, like just put it out there. And if you want to deal with some of your 6A schools that have band boosters, some of the things that Mario was saying earlier, and you want to get into that arena, you're going to have to know what you're talking about. You're going to have that core experience. And the reality is we have to be more marketable than them because most of them went to their universities and they're going to pick up their people from their universities first. That's just the fact of what it is.
And I know he got to talk to somebody, but I want to close out on this. I want to close out on this too. And this is real. This is real rap. Some of my best teaching came from me teaching drum corps.
Word.
I learned more teaching drum corps than I learned in undergrad. And that's real talk. So there you go. All right, let's keep it rolling, man, because we got to keep it moving. We got a lot of people. So let's do this. Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk, where we have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversations about band, HBCU band culture, music education, and more. As soon as you come in, hey man, let's get these likes up. I want the number of likes to match the number of viewers that we have right now. So let's get these likes up. Go ahead and click that like button. It ain't hard to do. All right. Also, please make sure you subscribe to the network and turn on notifications. Also, you can listen to us on your favorite podcast network. Find us at Real Talk That Talk. All right, let's keep it rolling. Yeah, I just got that from you, bro.
Yeah. Family, I got to pull off. Got to get some work done. Got parent conferences tomorrow morning, so we got to get some more stuff done. Ooh. Yeah, so all day tomorrow. We got early dismissal, so I'll be working until 8 o'clock tomorrow night on the clock.
Everybody got either early dismissal or parent conference coming up. Good luck.
We got it tomorrow.
We got
so
early dismissal.
Ready to go.
Yeah, we got early dismissal on Friday.
Nice. That's the best day to have it. All right. But I see y'all, family, man. Y'all have a good time tonight, man.
All right, bro.
I'll catch the the show wrap.
Word.
All right. Peace, man.
All right, bro. Peace.
All right, let's go. Let's get into the next topic. Good Lord, I got all my face in there. All right, let's get to the next topic. We're still talking band directors here. Should we reevaluate? No, well, let me back this up a little bit. There have been many situations where too many band directors have been caught up with them chilling. All right. And not even on the secondary level, but also on the university level. All right. So the question on the floor is, should we reevaluate the student band director relationship? Should we reevaluate the student band director relationship? Derek.
I don't think we should reevaluate it. I just think some people need to know what a boundary is, man. You come into this field knowing that your whole duty is to work with students. People that are younger, they're gonna look up to you. You have this power over them, man. And we got band directors. I don't even call it a relationship. Taking advantage of your students, man, that's wrong. I don't think we need to reevaluate our relationships though, because it's important as band directors to have relationships with these students. Now they shouldn't be obviously to the level that you're speaking of, or nowhere close. It shouldn't even be able to, interpret that way, man. But look, like the comment just said, we have to be able to create these professional boundaries between the students and the band director, man. But I think that's just a personal thing, man. They always told me it's like when a band director get fired, it's one or two things: it's either money or it's students. So I mean, I don't know, man. Like I said, I've heard it plenty of times. I've seen it, but I don't know. I guess some folk can't help themselves, man. I can't relate, man. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I ain't gonna. This question isn't if you can relate. I hope
no,
you
I
can
know
relate.
that. I'm just saying, I
don't know where we need to take you off this panel if you can relate. Yeah, all right. Yeah. You don't need that energy.
That's
I don't
right.
know, man. I mean, don't get me wrong, but when I got to go, I got to go. If I need to shit where I work, what am I supposed to do? Just keep holding it? I mean, god dang.
Hey man,
Your
you gotta wait till you
bowels,
get to the crib,
your,
man.
your bowels be backed up. Yeah, I don't be dropping guts where I work. I can tell you that right now. Unless it's just detrimental. I'll be holding that in. I'll be gurgling all day. All right, Quan, should we reevaluate the student band director relationship?
I don't think we should reevaluate it. I think at the end of the day, bro, it's like you got to look at it from the place of, is that shit worth it? And I don't give a damn what nobody say. Is it worth it? I never forget, like, we bring up a lot of things on the show. We talk about, makeshift haze and all that. Is that shit worth it? Is that worth your 6-figure job? Is that worth your reputation? Is that worth you may not being able to get another position? Nah, bro. I saw that question too. What about the directors who would date the parents of a student?
I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking about what you said.
What is it worth it?
No, I'm thinking about how many band directors out there got 6-figure jobs?
I'm just saying, like the ones that
Oh,
do.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm just
Very
saying.
minimal.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, is it worth your livelihood? Nah, bro. Like, nah, bro. You don't have to reevaluate it, but because the thing about it is the kids gonna talk. I don't give a damn of how cold you think your stroke game is, bro. They gonna talk because it's a power thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, nah, that shit ain't worth it, bro. Ain't none of that worth it.
So let's look at it this way though. If I'm at a university, the girl's 19 or the guy is 20. So that director may be thinking, I'm saying if you have a female band director or a female assistant band director messing with a guy, good lord. Anyway, my point that I'm trying to make, because I saw your face when I said that, Quan.
It's
But what I'm
2022, bro. It's 2022. I
That's
don't.
true.
I
That's
don't.
absolutely true. You're
It's 2022,
absolutely
bro.
right.
No.
You're absolutely right. So so with that being said, I'm just saying their mindset is, well, they adults. So I mean, blah blah blah, does that absolve that director from the
It,
act itself?
it's still, look, you don't need y'all watch Power?
No,
Kind
I'm
of.
good.
Nah, look, it was a teacher in there that was sleeping with a student. It's still against the student code of conduct, still against the your conduct, man. You have that certain power, no matter what grade level you in, you have that certain power over them. Now, when they graduate from college and you no longer are their supervisor, their teacher, their director, whatever you want to call it, I mean that's semantics and all that. But while they're still in school, as a student of yours, it's just not right, Even for the parent, like I saw the question about the parent too. They're an adult, but think about the psychological damage, you may do to the student if the band finds out. I know how, what I'm saying, my band students, they found out you talking to somebody's parent, it's over for you every day. Every day. It's just a wrap.
I'm
They be crazy.
okay. I I don't know about the parent, bro. Like,
Look. Now, if you keep stuff on the low, that's a whole other thing with the parent. I ain't saying it's wrong, but I'm saying you got to think about the risk that's going to take for that kid. That's all
I
I'm
don't.
saying.
Hey, look, listen. I understand that kid's feelings and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, you said
But if the yams is talking about something, I'm getting the yams, dog. I mean it, and because it's not against policy, bro.
it's not.
If
It's not. It's a moral
if
thing for me. For me, let me say
no,
that.
I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that I would do it because I'm good and married, but I'm just saying, got to put that out there. But what I'm saying is, if I'm uh, what I'm saying, I was looking at the chat, my bad. But what I'm saying is, if I was a university band director and mama come and drop her child off and mama looking quite right, you know what I'm saying? Hey,
Hey,
it's mama. It ain't the kid. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I don't know about the parent and the student. I mean, even if we're talking about it at a secondary situation, I've known some band directors to actually be involved with parents and even get married
Well, I know a lot.
to those parents.
Yeah, I know a lot of them, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's about how secret you can keep that relationship for the sake of the student. Because once the thing is out, man, like I said, it's a wrap. That's why Mr. Such and Such was clapping your mama cheeks last night. It's a wrap. I promise you, it's gonna happen.
I mean, oh, go ahead, Quan.
No, I'm just saying. So for the original question, I think we all agree no. When it comes to the parent, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't talk to that parent. Nah, I ain't in this situation either. But my whole thing is, my whole thing is at the end of the day, the reality is, I think somebody said it's about professionalism, bro. Like your name, like think about it. We operate as public figures. You're one. Let's be real. You're one lie away from getting your job taken. Like a lie, like a parent, a student could lie on you, and you could lose your stuff just by merely on that, bro. You got to keep your hands clean, bro. You got to keep your hands clean. So now, I wouldn't talk to the mama. I wouldn't talk to the student, because if you talking to the mama while the student go there, let that parent, y'all laying up in the bed talking about, Cynthia, she needs some scholarship money. I don't know. Like, nah, bro.
Hey, look, mama pulling this. What's her name? Sally Fields on Forrest Gump. I'm telling you.
Yeah. It's just 5 measly points.
Hey, look, but I mean, yeah, I mean, it can be used as a disadvantage. I don't know. I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you. Yes, there is the professionalism on that, but I just think there's the other side of those are two consenting adults at the end of the day. I get it. I do get the idea and the understanding of the professionalism. And even Derek, I even get your point. You know what I'm saying? Like them kids is go probably
It's a
tear
wrap.
them boys to
It's a
pieces.
wrap.
But there could be another side to that. There could be the side of where the students like really, really like the band director, and some kids are like, man, I can't believe, you know what I'm saying? Like Mr. Da 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 is like
Yeah,
messing with your moms. Like, that's dope, man. I wish he was my daddy, you know what I'm saying? Like, you never know. It could be two
I mean,
sides to
yeah,
the
it
coin.
could be like that. It could. I don't see. I'm gonna say my school. I don't know about that. They gonna fry you up, but I mean, they still respect it. But the jokes is coming.
I mean, jokes is coming in either way. Them, a kid can walk in with some fresh Jordans on. They'll find a joke for it. Those ain't Jordans. Those is Fordens. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? The kids will find anything.
Air Gordons.
Air Gordon. All right, man. Let's keep it moving. That was a quick one. All right. If you just tuned in, man. Air Gordons. I'm sorry. If you're just tuning in, man, welcome everybody to Talk That Talk, where we have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversations about band, HBCU band culture, music education, and more. Go ahead and please make sure you hit that like button. Let's get these likes up, man. Let's go ahead and make these likes match the number of viewers that we have. Also, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Man, I will be honest with you, man. I've been slacking within the last week. With getting content loaded, man. I got a lot of our subscribers, man. As soon as I upload something, they like right on it, and I've been real phony, man, because we had TMEA last week, and then I was also kind of not feeling well too, so I kind of had to just kind of chill out for a second. But don't worry, family. All my family, everybody out there, all the supporters out there. I'm gonna get back to uploading the content. And also the merch, we gotta put some new merch in, so that's coming very soon. Make sure you get your merch. We'll talk about that at the end of the show, man. Pick up your merch, and we'll get into all the rest of the stuff. But also, please make sure you go to any of your favorite podcast networks and type in "Real Talk That Talk," and you can get us right there on your favorite podcast. We're gonna do this last topic right here, and then I'm gonna open up the room so that you can come in and call in with us. All right. So here's the last one. Last topic of the night. Is it possible for band directors to become too powerful? Is it possible for band directors to become too powerful? Quan.
To do what? Too
Just in
powerful.
general. So let me give you a scenario. Think about Mr. Thornton.
Mhm.
Like, and I'm not gonna say he used it in a negative manner. So I'm not saying that at all. But real talk, Mr. Thornton could do no wrong. Like Mr. Thornton could have kind of did anything. He could have walked in the principal's office and showed his butt cheeks and walked out, and he would have been straight because he was Thornton, right? Like everybody knew that, and I think you were at the table when we had this conversation, and in San Antonio, like everybody knew Mr. Thornton ran that district.
Mhm.
Like things didn't happen unless it went through Mr. Thornton first.
Right.
And then when he passed away, then the district just kind of like, all right, we good. We gonna chop this district up. But when he was
Mhm.
alive, it was tight.
Right.
You know, so that's what I mean by that. Like being on that particular level, and even using it for, I guess you want to say, not good, using it for bad intentions. So that's my thoughts. All right. So is it possible for band directors to be too powerful?
In today's time, I don't even think that's even possible, bro. Uh, and because if that was the case, some of these feeder programs will be 10 times better than what they should be now. That's from the good aspect. And so I can't answer the from the bad aspect because I don't like to hang around, people with those, mentalities that's trying to do evil or harm to even if it's not just towards the kids, but just the namesake of being a band director. But I don't think in today's world, bro, a band director could be too powerful for anything. Now, on a collegiate level, that may be something different. I don't know. Maybe he has more pull in the music department than others. I don't know. Maybe he can pull more, scholarship money, for his students from the financial aid department or through the budget with administrators. If so, that's what's up. But I don't think that band directors have that much authority. Not in today's world. I think the people that are more powerful now in today's world are the actual students.
I was gonna say that's a fact, man. I was thinking the same exact thing. I think it's too many eyes on a teacher or band director right now for them to have the same kind of clout that they would before. There was a show, it was short lived on BET called The Quad. I don't know if y'all caught a little bit of that.
Yeah, it was
And
kind of phony though.
yeah, it was real funny, but they highlighted how, which was crazy to me, the band director out of all people they could have done, the band director would run the campus. Anything that he wanted done was getting done. It was so much that the president of the university would not second guess him. You have students complaining to the president about the band director, sweep it under the rug. But band directors like that cannot survive in this day and time. The student, like you said, the students know their rights. They don't have that all powerful reign over the students like they used to before. They don't have that all powerful reign over the university like they do. They know that they can be replaced now. If you do something wrong, somebody's gonna call you out. It's gonna be recorded or something like that. It's too many eyes on somebody now to have that much power. Now, it may be a few little straggly collegiate band directors out here that might still have that clout because they've been in the game for 30, 40, 50 years, something like that. But I don't think that's happening. I don't think anybody is above reproach at this time.
What do you think? Because both of you guys pretty basically had the same answer. What do you think was the catalyst for those particular types of things happening? Because obviously there must have been a time where there was that kind of power. So what do you think was the thing that kind of changed that?
I think it was Robert Champion, man, for Bander specifically. Um, man, because family, you got to think about Julian White was, mind you, not that he was doing wrong, but he was untouchable, untalkable until that whole situation happened. which unfortunately was under his supervision, even though it's kind of like he can't be around 300 people at the same time, you know. But when he got fired, man, I think a lot of other people got on notice after that. That's like for my generation, that's the first major band director I've ever seen get fired. You know, and granted that is an extreme case of why it happened, but I think a lot more people got on notice than there's a few other cases that I've seen long-term band directors get fired. I'm not talking about like retire, nothing. I'm talking about get fired because of student situations or overstepping their boundaries. Like I said, my main two reasons: money and students. I think money is one of the things that come into when a band thinks they're too powerful. You know, they start getting funny with the money and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I think it was that Robert Champion thing in the last 10 years. So that's my opinion.
I think social media. I think that's what would honestly pushed a lot of people out. I think social media, bro. Like you got to realize, school has turned to corporation. School is big business. What's the number one rule of all businesses? Protect the brand. So one person, as soon as it's an inkling that that person is destroying the quote unquote character of that brand, to where other vendors and sponsors and partnerships can be taken away, I'm gonna remove you. Like everybody's expendable. Think about it. A few years ago, the owner of the Clippers was removed because his side piece had a recording of him saying racist things. Like the NBA was like, I'm pretty sure them owners, NFL as NBA, they possibly have all type of racist conversations. But when it comes down to the vendors, they was like, who pulling out? Yeah, well, we got to get rid of him. And that's the bottom line of it all, bro. It's social media has turned it where quote unquote locker room talk can be publicized at the click of a button. And when it costs you money, you'll get rid of that person. And that's just the bottom line for anything, any school district, any company, any corporation, any business, whatever the case may be. Like when it boils down to it, that's what it is, bro. Social media.
Okay. And I will say I kind of don't disagree with you, Quan. And I mean I know it was on a completely different level of the example that you gave.
Mhm.
But I mean I think sometimes the best situation to pull up sometimes is Southern, because we all know that they're a brand, whether we want to realize it or not. But like they say, nobody is above the brand. And
Mhm.
so I look at the Hamer situation. You know, Hamer was on top of the world, and we see how that turned out. You know, so I that's why I say I can agree with you on certain situations. Like I said, his situation is definitely a little bit more extreme because of the severity behind the situation. But even still, um, it just kind of shows that just because you building the brand and you got a hell of a brand, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that you gonna stay there for long.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, they're expendable. All right.
At the end of the day, everybody expendable, bro. It's unfortunate, but everybody is. So
All right. Let's go ahead and let's welcome Brother Chuck to the room. How's it going, brother?
Hey, what's going on? Can you guys hear me?
what's
What's
up,
good,
Doctor?
Chuck?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, what up? What up? What up?
All right. What you got for us, bro?
Nah, man, I just want to check in. It's been a minute. I know y'all had TMEA, and we got all our conferences and stuff like that going on. Everybody getting ready for festivals here in Georgia. LGPE, that's what they call it. That's right around the corner. We got our pre-festival next week, and then the real deal a week or so after that. But yeah, how was TMEA? I just wanted to ask.
TMA was dope, man. Everything about it was dope. For me, this was probably one of the more stressful TMAs I had because I had so much to do. For those who don't know, I I was this social justice chair for NAFME Texas, and so we had meeting on Wednesday. So that that was really the day when I got in. But we had a meeting on Wednesday, and then we had our band division meeting on Thursday, and then I had to go do the introduction for brother Kevin Jones on that same day, and then on Friday was like completely crazy as hell. We had region meeting that day, and then we had I think 6 or 7 all staters. And so it's tradition in my district where we take our all staters to dinner. And so we took our all staters and we treated them to dinner, and then we had the UT performance that night, University of Texas performance that night. So it was just a crazy. I was extremely busy, but I got to network with a couple of people. Got some contact information from a lot of people, and got a chance to see some good folks as well. Got some great information. The Cavaliers gave a session, which was pretty dope. It was good to be able to have that information from them, and yeah, man, it was really dope. It was really dope, and I got to see my good friend Latoya Webb, or let me call her by name, Dr. Latoya Webb. And I hadn't seen her in years, and yeah, man, it was awesome.
That's dope. Yeah, it's definitely on my bucket list. I've been to Midwest a bunch of times, and definitely want to get the TMEA and PASIC as well too. Definitely want to go there, and I encourage folks that are not. I have a little percussion background, but for band directors that are not, that's not their cup of tea per se, to go. Because there's a lot of great opportunities there. But that's cool. But what was the topic? It slipped out of my head. I'm sorry, I'm multitasking. What was the topic right before this one? Before the Too Powerful?
Let me see. Got to go back. Should we reevaluate the student band director relationship?
Right. That's what I wanted to talk about. I think I've always I think about all of my teachers, and it's crazy. Bro, you said something a couple weeks ago. I think the last time you were on, and you were saying how you were reaching out, I think, to your middle school director, and just kind of letting them know. Or no, you were talking about a teacher that impacted you, on a major level. And I'm in the process of trying to find my middle school band director. Her name is Miss Evans, and I called the district to see, where. I went to middle school to try to find this individual, just to let them know that, hey, I'm teaching music now, and you started it. And so anyways, I've always known where the line is drawn in terms of my teachers, my coaches, my mentors, and some of them, like I'm really close to a lot of my band directors and mentors. And I think it's because, and I know as a teacher as well, if I feel that student understands that line and that level of respect, then sometimes you may open up a little bit more, to that student, because you understand that they respect you as a person, first off. And I know that I'm really, really close to, like I said, all of my mentors and my band directors, the ones that are still living. And because I never overstep those boundaries. Sometimes I'll hear of stories, and I don't know, I couldn't imagine any of my students maybe going that far or saying something, or even, I don't know. I know when my band directors came in the band room, you could hear a pin drop. It was just that level of respect. And my students know that before I hit the podium, they're individually warmed up, tuned, their sections tuned. And when I hit the podium, we're starting rehearsal. We're not starting practice. It's an expectation there. And I've always kind of led in that way. And I don't do it because we've all had different band directors, and we know some of them, especially the old school ones, they got that respect. But sometimes it was out of fear. My high school band director, if you were out of line, he might pick you up and shake you. He's going to put you out of rehearsal physically, because that's just how things were. But we can't lead in that way anymore. I think those type of band directors or mentors or teachers, even we're seeing it on the athletic side. We're seeing more and more coaches get the boot, for even, talking wrong. I think there was something on Sports Center a couple weeks ago of showing this coach just going at it to this kid, and he got in trouble, got reprimanded.
It was a basketball coach, right?
Yeah, I think it was something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
I saw that.
yeah,
I saw that.
and so I think that I know for me, I try to operate in a way that there's sternness, but I let my students know that, hey, I make mistakes as well too. I'm a human, and there's a mutual respect. If they're gonna ask me a question, I'm gonna try to be attentive and answer that, just as if they had a question for me, or vice versa. I just try to do that. So I think, like, sometimes where band directors get in trouble, or even coaches as well too, that line is blurred. It's not understood that you're the teacher or you're the mentor. It's like we're the buddy or the friend, and I think that's where things can get real, like I said, real iffy, because again, they're still children. They're still learning. They're still trying to grow. Their brain is not fully developed, and some of them talk to their parents as if they were their friends. And so, what makes you think this person, you're not related to that person? Of course, you're with them probably more than their parent. But if things get down to it and it's a real crazy situation, that student's going to lash out, because that, what I'm saying, that level of respect is not there. And so, for an example, I know one of my band directors, my mentor, Dr. Ruff, that's at A&T, he used to have a tape from his desk to like a certain part of his office, and you could not cross that tape. He didn't care who you were, and that was because of FERPA and different rules and things like that. Because sometimes students won't realize you can't just look at somebody's computer screen or look at somebody's phone or stuff like that. And I know a lot of professionals put things in their office, so that can't be seen, because it's a lot of sensitive information. That stuff will get you fired quick, fast, in a hurry. Y'all were talking about don't mess with money, don't mess with kids, and don't look at stuff that's none of your business. Mind the business that pays you. And so I think, again, those lines get blurred. Now, you can be personable with your students, and I think that's important. I was telling my students today, and I spent the entire day teaching today, not from the podium. I picked my instrument up and sat in with my kids. We had practice, and I was just a student. All right, we're going to play this again. Play, minimum instruction, but, letting them know, hey, I'm a musician, or I'm a band student as well too. And so stepping off the podium and having those personal things, I know for me as a student, I loved it. Like when I used to see Dr. Ruff get on the field and teach drill, like right in the middle of the field. I loved it. I love seeing my professor pick up their horn. I love watching other directors do that. Dr. Zachary at Midwest years ago, I was walking one of the, in the exhibit hall, and I heard this trumpet player going ham. And I was like, I didn't see who that was. And it was him trying out some horns, and so that inspires me, is seeing, band directors do that. And so I think that relationship, and in terms of drawing that line, can be done not only being like an authoritative figure, but also letting your students know that you're a musician, you were a band student too,
Thanks.
I think it helps with that.
So there's two things I was gonna say. When I got my master's degree, one of the things that Dr. Eric Allen told me that I never really thought about, that I kind of was doing anyway, but I make it more deliberate now, right? He said, you got to get out of your cockpit. You when we get on the podium, we have our harmony director here, and we got our Dr. Beat over here, and we got our McAdams tuner over here, and we're just doing everything from there, right? But he was like, sometimes you got to get out of your cockpit, and you got to actually move around, and you got to be more personable, engage with the student, because that's what builds the relationship, because they like seeing that. And so when he told me that, and when he told that to the class, I made it like I was kind of already doing that anyway, but I made it my personal mission to make sure that I did it a lot more. And I built better relationships and connections with my students. The other thing I was going to say is, bruh, listen, find your band director and let them know, man. I found I was blessed to be able to go back to my band director. She was still teaching at Welch Middle School, in Houston, Texas. Shoot, what year is this? 2022. So 9 years ago. She recently retired within the last 3 years, but I was blessed to go back to her, and I went up to the school and I told her thank you, and I apologized to her. Linda Stiegler, I will never forget it. I apologized to her for being such an asshole in class, because if anybody knows me, I am a smart ass by nature. That's just who I am. I've tried to fight it, but it's just taking me over. And I wasn't like a bad kid, but I was definitely a smartass. And so I apologized to her because I had, well, no, this wasn't 9 years ago. It was 11 years ago. But I was in my second year of teaching, and I realized what it was like to teach a middle school kid. And I said, look, I am so sorry for any hell that I ever gave you. And then after that happened, I actually happened to run into her the next year at TMEA. And when I saw her, I had a great conversation with her, and I told her I wanted to eventually get back to the university level and all of that. And she said, look, if you do that, I'm going to support you. I think it's a great thing, but you need to stay at secondary because those kids need you. They need a director like you to be able to give back to them. And so it was amazing because during that conversation, I said, we played the Red Balloon my 8th grade year by Ann McGinty. And so I told her, I said, hey, I'm having my kids play the Red Balloon by Ann McGinty. And she said, oh, yeah, I remember that. Lord and behold, I want to say maybe 2 months later, in my mailbox at the school is Ann McGinty, the Red Balloon, the same one that we played. And I'm going through the music and I'm finding like people's names that I remember being in band with that had wrote on the music. So it was definitely a very, very comforting experience. Like I said, bro, find that director and make that.
I'm definitely gonna do it, man. And I got, when you say that, it made me think of something. And I gotta add, I got a question for Quan for a second. Was your high school band director or middle school director, were they a percussionist?
No, my high school band director is named Gerald Anderson. He was a saxophone player,
right?
But my percussion instructor that handed me my first pair of sticks was Calvin Berry. He's the drum instructor at Jackson State.
Okay, so I want to ask, like, how many times did your band director, being a wind player, come back there and actually like play with you guys?
He did the reading part, like when the beginning level, but he wasn't back there like it was kind of like this,
Right.
He was like that, and I was like, I understand. This is like he was like, it's a 5-stroke, and all of that. I was like, okay, you're fine, but
right. Yeah, I try to like, and I say that because like and I remember reading something and just saying how like we won't venture back there, as much as wind players. And like I said, I have a small percussion background, played the drum line in high school. And I try to go back there because I feel bad sometimes. A lot of times they're neglected, they're neglected big time. And I think it's important for us to go back there and see it. My high school band director would pick up anything in the band room. That's why, I try to play as much as I can. Because I remember him like, no, this is how you do it, son. And then showing me, and that like clicked for me. And so, but it's hard because I'm sure a lot of us play various instruments in class with our kids. And there's some that we gravitate to more than others, like my flutes and clarinets. I was like, Miss Connor, we don't ever see you with a flute and clarinet. So I was like, I promise you, you're going to see more of it. I just don't play it that much. But I go back there with them and you just see them get inspired. But then again, they want to switch. Like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. You're like, wait, hold on. We got to get really good at this one first before we could, you know what I'm saying, venture around. But, you know, I wanted to ask that. But what was that song that hooked you in middle school or maybe high school? What was the song that hooked you that your teacher passed out? Because when you said that, bro, a second ago, I thought about my middle school director, and I'm showing my age. This is when Under the Sea came out from The Little Mermaid, right? And that joint had some like steel drums in it, you know, and played on the malice. Oh man, I was hooked. I was like, man, this joint is hot. I didn't know we could play this stuff, you know. And then I got to be honest, in high school, I was on the football team, and I walked down the hallway and heard the band practicing after school, and they were playing, lo and behold, Neck. You know, and I was like, and I knew the song, I knew the original song, and I was just like, oh man, this is dope. Like our band does this, you know. And after that season, I hung up the pads. It was on the field the next year, you know. So what was that song that hooked you guys early that, you know, inspired you to keep playing? Was it one or a couple or a show or something?
For me, it's funny. So for side note, Julian, we playing Red Balloon this year as well, by the way.
So then I definitely need to get out there. We need to talk. All right.
Yeah. So but in regards to the song, what song was that? For us, like I say, I joined band my sophomore year. So it was cadences. It was we called it ferret. Mm-hmm. But it was an old Southern cadence, bro. And I was like, yeah, I want to get down. And then they played cadence called ferret, and then they played a stick cadence. It's called Stick by Johnny Lane. If you ever like pull up a clip by Southern, it'd be like, Southern is the best band in the land. That's like that. I heard that. I was like, yeah, I need to hop down in this band. And from that point, I was hooked ever since. But I think I was just excited. But being in that culture in Louisiana at that time, you was going to hear Neck. You was going to hear Torture. You was going to hear those classics, honestly.
Do what you want to.
Not really even that. Not really even that. But like, it was just certain songs like Before I Let Go. Like, really, if you took Southern Book from 03 and back, the classics.
Yeah.
At that time when I was in school, but you was playing it. You was playing it.
So let me hop in here real quick just to go ahead and give you the answers, and then Derek, and then Justin, you up. But the first thing I do want to say is I'm actually really good on percussion. I'm pretty decent. I ain't cold now. Let's not get it twisted.
MDFS cold?
No, I ain't. No, hell no. I ain't cold now. But real talk, like, so
he can
do my school.
I get it to him. He can do it.
Okay.
I'm pretty nice. I ain't MD nice, but or box nice, but I'm all right. I can handle my own. But no, in my district we have 2 percussion directors, and then they come and work with our percussion on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Mm-hmm. I'm usually with our percussion on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So I'm literally almost 90% of the time back with the percussion. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know how that ended up happening. I like playing different instruments. I enjoy playing the tuba and trombone. I'm a trumpet player, but I end up like my wife and will hear me drumming in the house. I'll pick up some sticks. I got a practice pad in the kitchen. Whenever I'm in the kitchen and she cooking, I'm hitting the practice pad. So I mean, I don't know. Yeah, see, there it is.
There you go.
But to answer your question, Chuck, real talk, it really wasn't I don't know if it was the song or the atmosphere. Because I was actually gonna quit band my ninth grade year.
I did ninth grade.
When I left middle school, like, I appreciate everything I did in middle school, but I just wasn't looking forward to being in band because I didn't see anything that excited me. And then I was talking to this chick, and I was trying to follow the meat because she was going to one school, and so I was like, hey man, since you going to this school, I'm gonna come after you because I'm thinking we gonna lock it in and be together forever. All that, all that young thinking, right? So I'm trying to follow the meat. So she went to the school, and the school didn't have a band. It was a academy. It was a preparatory academy.
Mhm.
So I was actually thinking about giving up band to go follow her. But my brother was in band at Willow Ridge at the time. He was going into his senior year, so he was like, "Bro, come up to the rehearsal with me." And I was like, "All right, whatever. I don't care. Shit, band, whatever." Um, and so I'm sitting out in the audience in the auditorium because we were that big that year. This was 98. So that year we were 280 people. So we had to they rehearse in the auditorium on the stage. And so I get in there.
Good work, Justin. He ain't lying. He
280.
ain't lying. He ain't lying. Not this
Real
time.
talk.
Nah, he didn't
Real
work.
talk. I don't lie, but we were on the stage, and Mr. Thornton was sitting on the podium, and he said, "Whistle 2, 3, 4," and they said, "Ready 2, 3," and boom, downbeat, and it was "Give It to Me, Baby," and I saw the drum majors in the front hitting it, and I was like, "Yo, what is this? I ain't never seen no band like this, yo! Like, what the heck is this?" And I was sold after that. I was like, "Fuck her! I'm going. I'm going to this band." So that's kind of what happened to me. So, like I said, I don't know if it was the song or was it the atmosphere of the situation itself.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah.
And that's important, having that welcome or that atmosphere, to recruit. I always say your biggest recruit is your performance.
Mhm.
You never know who might be watching, who might be seeing you. I remember doing Mardi Gras as a senior and seeing little kids with Quaker oat boxes with a string and some sticks marching down the street like Southern, and I'm like, this kid is 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old. Like, I was like, man, like you never know who's watching. And so that's I get it. That atmosphere or that performance, man, can change lives. Derek, who'd you see?
Man, for real, it was the high school band that I ended up marching for, man. I was the same as Julian. Well, I wasn't chasing no cheeks, but I was gonna play football. Yeah, I was a big kid. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try out for the football team. And only thing that stopped me, man, I got a D in biology my 8th grade year, and I was ineligible to play because of a D. But I got to high school, man. I was like, man, I'm not about to do nothing. Then marching band started playing, man. I did band in middle school. I was like, let me give it a try. But it was the thing that kept me in it was really it was the atmosphere, man. It was so much order. My band director, he didn't play no games. If anybody's on the chat from Maryland, I went to Oxon Hill. Yeah, my band director, he didn't play no games. So, but the atmosphere, I was like, oh man, we're going hard over here, man. It's a lot of learning. It was just like it was above a plane that I could understand why, I gravitated towards the band, man. But it was just the kids that I was around, the places we saw, the music we used to create. And Oxford, my high school band was really good. Like, they could play. That was the thing that really impressed me, man. So, like, the first time you ever sit in a live performance and you get chills, I never experienced that before until I heard that band. So I was hooked after that. And then on top of that, they went to China my freshman year in high school. So
wow,
I was like, yo, I ain't going nowhere. Yeah, they went to China for the Olympics, man. But yeah, man. And my banner's so smart, man. He was a percussionist. When you asked that question earlier, he was a percussionist. I didn't really figure that out until I think maybe my junior year in high school, because he would never pick up sticks. Like, he wouldn't go. Yeah, he would always do another instrument, like a wind instrument.
Yeah.
He would never pick up sticks and everything like that. But yeah, my marching band, man, had me hooked. I'm still hooked. Obviously, I do this for a living now.
Right.
Justin, real quick. So, you from Louisiana?
He from New Orleans. Difference.
No.
You from the city?
I'm sorry,
Different.
you from New Orleans.
It's like
Look,
saying
I'm glad. I mean, here's the
I
problem.
got you, bro. I got you, cuz. That's different. That's
Oh.
different.
No, real talk. Before I even get into what I was actually going to say, I don't even know why I said that, because I even know that because when I say my people from Louisiana, then they be like, "Oh, what part?" And I be like, "Monroe." That ain't Louisiana, bro. That's it's trash. Dog. So yeah, so I already know. I don't even know why I said that, but yeah, man. I don't even know how you don't know about my high school back in '98. We came to Southern in night. Well, you were super young. But yeah, we came to not New Orleans, Baton Rouge in '98, and that Battle of the Bands is still up on YouTube right now, man. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
You muted, Justin.
Nah,
Yeah.
you're not muted. You just can't hear him.
Check your mic settings. Make sure everything is hooked up. But yeah, we played. I don't know if Kennedy is still a band, but
So they after Katrina they had closed it
Yeah.
for a little bit, but they brought it back though. So they're up and
yeah,
coming. But that was baby stuff.
Kennedy back then was like that was the one group we were going after that year because they came in killing, and they ain't come in no band uniforms. They came in with like sweaters that said like Kennedy on it, and I was like they was blowing. Kennedy was there, Washington Marion was there back when they had numbers.
What about St. Aug?
I don't see. No, St. Aug wasn't there.
Man, I remember seeing them when I went. We heard them around the corner, and I remember seeing the I guess call them like the high risers or the what I'm saying the snare drums that are up. Yeah, right. I had never seen that before.
We can hear you.
Oh my goodness! I was like, "Who is this band?"
Like, that was my first question. I was gonna ask you when you said '98 and you went to the battle. I said, did y'all see John F. Kennedy?
Yeah, Kennedy was there. That was the band to beat. Like I said, they came in killing, and we were like, nah, bro, we ain't gonna let them hit it. But no, we won the Battle of the Bands that year in '98. Yeah, Lameek's videos is right. Tape Master got it up. It's on Tape Master. I mean, my band, and I ain't trying to brag on the home team.
Y'all were good. Y'all were good.
But no, real talk. Like
you know who was in that 98, 99 Kennedy band? What his name? The host of Crucial Conflict, Matt Snedron in Dallas.
Oh, really?
Y'all beat them? Oh my God! I'm gonna tell that nigga. I'm gonna wait. I gotta drive. That Kennedy band was like, I'm gonna say 99 was the peak of that band. So 98, it was good though, but like it was like ridiculous in 99. Maybe 98, but I'm gonna ask them about that. I'll call them soon we get off the line for drive and see y'all.
Yeah, man, it's up there, man. But like
01, they was killing.
98, who you talking about, Kennedy?
No, I'm talking about Kennedy.
Oh, I'm already know. But I say, yeah.
So can we say that's a golden era for high school band, mid to late 90s?
Absolutely.
Like there was a lot of good groups.
Even my junior year, well, see, I could talk a lot about my high school because we did the Rose Bowl, we did the Orange Bowl, we did Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade my senior year.
Wow.
But my junior year, Southwest DeKalb came down from Georgia to Texas to play us during the Texas Southern game.
Wow. They were big then too.
Yeah, that's back when they still had their 300.
Yeah,
that's back when they still had their 300. And it was funny how we ended up finding out about it because our band director was like, "Hey, we got a battle coming up." We were like, "A battle? Ain't no battle on the books for us." He was like, the band director from Southwest DeKalb said he heard that we were the best, and they want to come and battle us. And we was like, all right, let's get it then. But yeah, man, you can look us up, Justin. Anywhere, Willow Ridge, anywhere between 98, 99. Shoot, you can actually go back years. I don't want to put this out there, Quan, but I mean, it was a game where Willow Ridge was at PV. They played for a PV game. And the rumor is they blew out PV. I ain't saying that's just the rumor. I wasn't there.
What year was that? Like 95?
I think it was either 95 or 97.
Nah, I saw that field show. I saw it.
It was one of them
different. We
years.
talking about the stands and the field show. That's two
No,
different.
even in the stands.
It was live, bro. I
Even
mean,
in the stands.
they were like damn near 2 times bigger than Prairie View, 2-3 times bigger than Prairie View.
Yeah,
like,
in 95, in the 95 and 97, in the 95 and 97 years, they were about 310, somewhere around there. They had passed 300.
And there was about 4 with all
96.
And everything.
Thank you. 96.
Yeah.
Wow.
96.
And see, and that's tough because like your high school kid, you ain't got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You ain't got nothing to lose. You go for broke. College, if they play at a high school, which I don't see why that should happen. But if that happens, they should be better. But if they're not, then I saw it with Dudley in Greensboro. In the 90s, in mid 90s, mid 90s, and they were at a North Carolina Central game, and that high school just it was the best band in that stadium that day.
So for like y'all East Coast brothers, like I'll never forget when YouTube first came out in 05, but when those band tapes started first coming out, it was a battle of the band, and it was like how you pronounce it, like Reading?
Redan.
Like I saw them. I saw was it like Gwinnett County? Like there was so many schools that was big, and of course, I think the reason why a lot of people knew Southwestern Cab because they traveled. But it was a lot of Atlanta. I think Meadow Creek. They had a really like some solid bands, bro, around that area. So I do believe that was the era of bands, but no lie, I wasn't in band at that time. No, I didn't join band until later because I thought I was gonna be a baseball player. But in New Orleans, bro, even if you was a tiny band, bro, you still like I never forget Douglas, Carver, 3-5, like it was some bands, bro. Like you could not stay on that neutral ground without bro.
Bro, when we lined up for the Rex Parade. No, Zulu. Sorry, we did Zulu. And we were, I don't know what street this was, but it was, man, it's got to be at least a football field to too long. And it was just bands lined up. And I mean, I just remember seeing, that was my senior year in high school. 2000, and I was just like, oh my goodness, like I've never seen so many bands like all together. We were a little all-star group, that we have in North Carolina, a few other groups as well together. But we had a couple rehearsals, we had a few parade songs or whatever, but we didn't want any parts, of some of them groups, especially St. Aug. Like I just remember hearing them come around the corner. And, if you've ever been around like large bands, a large group, what that feeling is from a distance, from a distance. And it's kind of like, I don't know, like a dinosaur approaching, you know what that feeling is. And I could just feel it. I was like, man, that's like 200 to 300 people in sync and coming around the corner. And I was just like, wow. I was like, it's amazing. So it was really cool, experience that, man. I feel that you got to have a special group to take groups to New Orleans, for Mardi Gras. You got to have a special group. I think Norfolk, y'all went one year, right? Did y'all do Mardi Gras 1 year?
I didn't go. I ain't going to tell you why I didn't go. I was supposed to go. That's a story. Mardi Gras is a time in my life in Norfolk that I block out of my mind.
Control alt delete.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's like how like I got my niche with band, so y'all was on the topic. Like every band when I was a kid was just stupid big. You know what I'm saying? My middle school band had 160 kids in it. You know what I'm saying? A 30, 40 piece trombone section. So I'm like,
what middle school you went to, bro?
I went to Woodson. So it's like Summer the Fun, then Woodson right next to the street, and whatever high school come recruit you. So it's a matter of just big bands. I used to love FAMU, and I had to stop liking FAMU. I hate to say it because my culture, FAMU is the biggest college band. I'm like, okay, they got all them people. Remind me of back home, but when they play, it sounds like it sounds good, but where's the energy? Where's the aggression? Where's what I'm used to? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I got Barnes and Reed, you know what I'm saying, with that big monster coming up the street with 200 people in the band, you know what I'm saying? So like that feeling you said, like you know, you can feel when people come. That's the norm to me. Sometimes I ain't like going to band practice if we had 10 tubas or like, you know what I'm saying? That's just the culture in New Orleans. But I wanted to touch on the topic that y'all was talking about earlier. Quantum, glad you're on here. We talk about how big Willow Ridge was and all these bands in Texas and stuff like that and how great it used to be. Do you ever think it's going to come a time that band can get back that way in the state of Texas? And can y'all some kind of way fight this whole UIL system? Because I personally feel like, you know, like I told you, every band that I talk to in Texas is like, we got to do this, we got to do that. But your kids, I'm not a fan of festivals. I'm not afraid to say it. You know what I'm saying? I get it, whatever, until we can create our own festivals and things of that nature. I'm in support of that. But I hate when I'm hearing from band directors and things of that nature that we have to do this for a group of people who really don't care about our kids. They just want numbers and results of something of their standard, bro. I feel like that's really killing Texas bands. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we send your kids, we send our kids to HBCUs. Call it we want to, you know what I'm saying? We send most of our kids too. And you have those one or two that go to like PWIs, and that's fine. But I feel like is there gonna come a time where like, you know, the Texas band directors can stand up and like, you know, do their own thing and say what's best for the needs of these Texas bands? It's really killing y'all.
I think so.
Oh, you got it, Quan? Go ahead.
Okay. Being honest, bro, it's not UIL that's killing bands, bro. I said it several times. It's the infrastructure of these middle schools. So real quick, around 2006, like bands like low key died, and I think everywhere low key seemed like bands took a hit. And in my opinion, yeah, but not including the city, because after Katrina, they still like that culture would never.
We saved it. Yeah, we saved it.
You know what I'm saying? Like the culture would never die. I mean, think about it. The whole Gritty City came out, you know, years later. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I show it every year for band camp. So it's like,
me too.
Like, so it didn't die. But when you look at other areas, we felt the remnants of No Child Left Behind Act, and we felt the remnants of the 21st Century Grant. Like, especially in low socioeconomic areas, they was like, principals was looking at it like, because certain districts in Texas are non-centralized. So that basically means the principal is judge, jury, and executioner with the funds. So they looking at it like, if I don't have to pay this dude a $60,000 salary, I can go hire Joe who marched for a drum line. I could pay him $45 an hour for 4 hours, buy a set of drums, and when I want to be entertained by these people, I could pay him while I'm gonna do it. So what happened? You had a lot of historically black high schools and middle schools that was like, cool. Well, we ain't gonna have band, but we gonna have drum lines. And that trend started around Houston. Like in Houston, their fine arts department is only like 4 to 5 years old, bro. It's not a lot. So that's why you have revolving doors around Yates. You had a revolving door here at Worthing prior to me getting here. You know, the eldest band director here is Mr. Woodson at Sterling. But when you don't have a middle school program, how can you build? So every year we're pulling kids from the school. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and that's the situation. One second.
I'm gonna let him. I'm gonna let him finish cooking, but then I got something I want to add.
I definitely want to hear it because I hear the same situation from every house.
My bad. That's the people that be trying to like. So like that's like the overall what happened to a lot of low socioeconomic schools in urban areas. Now, here's the flip side. To the affluent areas, if you had a black school such as Willow Ridge, you know what they do? They build another school not too far, and they split your school in half. And then they build another school, and they split your school in half. Where you have certain schools in certain areas where Willow Ridge is based, they have like 3 middle schools that feed into it. But the black schools, they have 1 middle school. And they might have had a revolving door. So it's not quote unquote the UIL, it's the infrastructure and system that honestly It's systemic racism because you couldn't tell Willie Reed's nothing. Real talk from the time Mr. Thornton arrived to the time he transitioned to the other side of heaven. You couldn't because his band was winning UIL. His band was winning sweepstakes. I'm talking about concert, sight reading, and jazz. You couldn't tell him nothing because they will go to Rose Bowl. You see, that's just one example. And then, unfortunately, I'm gonna say this, and this may not be politically correct for a lot of even black folks. Sometimes the power of option also kills it because we think, well, I'm gonna bust my kid to this magnet school, but you busting your kid to the magnet school, so the historical black school and your neighborhood dying. So that band that was big. So imagine if you got your historical black high school that got 80 kids, but then you quote unquote got a magnet school down the street that you think is better, and you got 80 kids, and 80 of those kids supposed to be in that other band. Your band not diminished. So you went from a possibly 200-piece band to an 80-piece band. And then over time, if you don't have, you're fighting over those middle school kids, well, we fighting against each other. Instead of honestly standing together and be like, nah, we're gonna fight for this historical black high school, and we're gonna keep building and keep investing in these kids in our neighborhood. That's what happens. That's what I've seen personally has happened in Houston. But can it come back? It can when the middle school programs come back. But until then, it won't happen, bro.
I don't disagree with nothing you just said. But I think there's another piece to that I think that you missed out on. And that other piece is people just don't want to ask questions and get informed and get involved either. Because here's the truth about a lot of things. When it comes to UIL, in a lot of districts on your contract, it tells you have to do UIL. Now there are some districts that does not require you to do UIL. But for the most part in Texas, you are required to do UIL. The problem is us as the chocolate folk, we refuse to actually go and get the knowledge to be more successful in doing UIL. We get in our lane and then we say, this is for us. We want to do us. And we're going to stick in this and then say, woe is me. Right? Like, and the reason why I can speak from that perspective is because I was once that person. Until I said, you know what? Let me go get the knowledge to be able to be successful. Let me hip you to some game. Mr. Thornton did not have a drum corps background at all. Yet, Mr. Thornton has numerous ones in UIL. Numerous ones. Out of the 4 years that I was at Willow Ridge, it was 1 year I got a 2 in UIL. But this is coming from a person who has never in his life marched drum corps.
He has over.
He started out at Prairie View and then graduated from Texas Southern. So my point to you is, it's not the fact that UIL is killing us. It's because I definitely agree with everything that Quan said. Infrastructure is definitely a problem. There definitely needs to be more educators who are willing to work at the middle school level and build up middle schoolers. But there's the other half of that where the band directors got to get out of their own assholes. I mean, it just is what it is. You got to be able to just say, you know what? I don't know how to do this. Let me go get the knowledge to be better. Let me bring in a clinician who's going to be able to show me how to do X, Y, and Z on the marching side. We were successful in marching and show style. We won during our time show style battle of the bands and UIL. So it's able to be done. You just have to be comfortable enough to step into the uncomfortable places to go and get the knowledge. That is the problem. Here's a common example of what I'm talking about. And this ain't every black teacher, so please understand that. At TMEA, one of the things that bothers me is we refuse to get into the uncomfortable spaces. We get together as the black folk and we talk about the problems that we have in the community. Yes, but it's very rare that I see a lot of them actually getting out and having conversations with the people that don't look like us in order to get the knowledge in order to be better. If you don't understand the difference between bent leg and straight leg, and understanding how to march that style and the mechanics that comes in that, even something as simple as saying you have too much feet in your sound, then that means that you have refused to go and get the knowledge. I can walk into any space and have this conversation. The district I teach in now is one of the top tier districts in the state of Texas. Top 5 in the state of Texas. That's the district I teach in now. I walked into that band room and from the high school perspective and was able to still teach those kids. And yet I can go and be an assistant band director at Prairie View. Because it's just acquiring the knowledge that people just don't want to take the step to do. All they want to say is, well, this is what we do and this is how we're going to keep it, which is not okay.
So I guess the question that I'm back to the question that I'm asking. Okay, so I'm getting some insight.
Hold on right quick, Justin. I know Quan, I know you got to go, brother, because they kicking you out the building, man.
You're kicking me out, man. I'm logging on my phone to check in, but y'all have a blessed night, man.
Bet. All right. Go ahead, Justin.
So I guess the question that I'm asking is like, you and I like how you and Rick always say, what I'm saying, we as a people are sometimes scared to tap into the other side of things, what I'm saying, that we always make an excuse. I never been to TMEA, and by y'all just saying is low-key bigger than Midwest. I'm gonna definitely tap in to both of them next year. I've never been to either one of them yet. But but back to the point at hand, like the band in Texas, you just told me y'all was 300 something plus or whatever, something plus students. Like, do you think what is a way that we can get that back in Texas? You know what I'm saying? Like I thought it was the UIL battle that I'm about a banner to say, we can't participate in like end of the year battle of the band because we got to do festival and things of this nature. When I watch other states do festival and still be able to keep their kids engaged. We don't want to say it, you know what I'm saying? I deal with kids every day, traveling to different schools. In my profession, I made band a profession. I know what the kids want to do. You know what I'm saying? And I watch certain band directors make concert band fun. My band director had to tell us we wouldn't get our Letterman jackets at the end of the year if we didn't do concert band. I did concert band, I ended up loving it, but we still went to them Atlanta Jamborees and showed out. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is like, I see the excuses, but then I see somebody like you, Luke, telling me like, that's not the problem. So how can we build that culture back in Texas?
So the thing is, UIL doesn't keep numbers out, right? There are a number of bands in the state of Texas who do just strictly show style that are small. That goes back to exactly what Quan was saying about infrastructure, building middle school programs, all of that stuff. I have a massive respect for Mr. Williams at Skyline. I really do. Because he has built a very good band program. But I used to work in DISD. I know the feeder kids that he gets. That they're a good crop of kids. They have a decent feeder program. Whereas the school that I used to work at didn't have a good feeder program. And they weren't letting me in there. They wanted me to come over there, but I didn't have time because my schedule was super swamped. When I got over there, the band director wasn't willing to work with me. She barely picked up the phone. The problem, a lot of that is definitely infrastructure. My band Willow Ridge, at my time when I got in 98, was 280 people. Now, maybe 60, 70. But that's uncommon. But a lot of the situation is the feeder programs. They built 3 different schools after I graduated. They built one while I was still in school, which took a lot of the population away from my high school, but they built 2 more after. I think it's Reagan and Marshall. So the thing is, I agree 100% with what Quan is saying. Yes, infrastructure is definitely an issue, but I think the other half of that is we can't just blame UIL, right? Like if we say that UIL is the catalyst for why we don't have numbers, then explain to me why there are so many bands that are still in Texas without numbers. We can name Sunset, Townview, Skyline. Those are all in Dallas. Houston bands are still small. I don't know any San Antonio bands, any Austin bands. And really, when you think about it, you're really only talking about 2 cities, Houston and Dallas. And quiet as it's kept, the DFW area, I'm sorry, I forgot, Cedar Hill. So Sunset, Townview, Cedar Hill, and Skyline. But when you're looking at those 4 groups, quiet as it's kept, the DFW area has more stronger, predominantly white band programs with a lot more numbers than all of those schools that I just named. I mean, that is just the honest to God truth. Cedar Hill has a great number of kids because Cedar Hill is a smaller community where they have the one high school where they have a lot of middle schools that feed into it, and they're doing a great job over there, 100%. But when I look at Sunset and I look at Skyline and I look at Townview, those 3 schools right there are just really have really good or decent situations. Townview, you have to apply to get in. You don't just walk into that building. You know what I'm saying? So, just to kind of bring it to just kind of to close it out, man, even if you have a band of 30 or 40, you can still be successful. You want to talk about having adjudicated or having something that is specifically for us. Well, now we have that. We have that. The Bands of America. We have that now. But the question now is, who's going to show up? Are you really going to actually show up and support it? Because you're now being adjudicated. You're now being assessed. You're looking at, are you actually playing as a unified front? Are you playing intonation? Are you playing? Because regardless of whether you're doing show style or chord style, as Rick says, a concert F is a concert F.
Right.
Moving your company front in time is spot on. Is your leg lift? How does your leg lift look? Do you have feet in your sound? Is your toe coming in at the right time? Where is that feet activation happening? Like is your drill concept important? What does your auxiliary look like? Like all of these things are important. And if we just want to say, all right, well, we just want to get out there and blow that hoe and crank, then do that.
Get out there and put it on.
And that's right. And we've had that for a minute too. Like the consortium has been going on for a long time. I was a student when I attended it, and then now I'm having my high school group is actually performing at it in March. And so we have these events, but you see the same individuals there, and I think there's this whole just idea about with some folks, not with everybody, because I'm in a district, I'm in DeKalb County. I'm with Southwest, Stevenson, Redan, all those big schools in the areas that we were talking about. And it's an expectation. It's not written in our contract, but it's an expectation that we have a full comprehensive program.
What school you at?
It's that I'm in DeKalb County.
What school?
At Tucker. I'm at Tucker High School. Right. And so that's right in the suburbs, right outside the city. And so it's expected that we have a full comprehensive program. And I think when it comes to festival and just amongst the culture, some individuals, they name all the white composers. They don't talk about our African-American composers and band directors like William Grant Still, and these individuals that were really big in this style of music as well. All we hear is the same ones over and over and over. And I'm gonna be honest, some of those composers are putting their foots in their mouth, their foot in their mouth, and saying some things and being exposed for who they are. It's like every semester we see somebody say something stupid, and then those individuals are getting canceled. We're like, oh, we're not playing them no more. We're gonna play these individuals. But like was stated, is that we have some of these events, and it's the same folks showing up. You mentioned about being in the band room or feeling that power, Justin. You were saying that. I never forget going and sitting in at a FAMU rehearsal. I'm telling you, if you ain't never been in a rehearsal and in that band room with them, it's a whole nother experience. You can't tell me they're not laying it down. You
Well,
know,
no, they definitely are. And this is the style of when we play. My first time seeing them in person was at Honda 2010 when they played that "If It Kills Me" by Jazz and Sullivan. They had the whole dome shaking. Like
right?
they have a force sound, like you feel it more so than a swag HBCU band, like you touch you or like knock you out. So
Right.
they blowing it. You know what I'm saying? It's just a different style of
Yeah,
play.
it's different. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
different. But again, I just wanted to say that too many times we give that name festival or LGPE, what we call it out here or whatever, you know, like was stated, people are scared to be adjudicated and to get that feedback. Next Friday, I go to pre-LGPE, pre-festival. I got Doc Watkins, Dr. Hughes from Morehouse, and I have Don Roberts, that's our district director, as our adjudicators for them. And I told my kids today, I was like, hey, this is going to make us better. This is going to make us better. We need this. And too many times we don't want to be uncomfortable. I used to work at a school. We said uncomfortable conversations, courageous conversations. We don't want to have those because sometimes we don't want people telling us what we need to do to improve our own stuff. It's the ego. It's the ego of some of us, you know, and it doesn't help us.
And let me say this. Let me say this one thing, Justin, before you get your question out. Festival gives us a standard. It gives us a rubric to follow. What is wrong with having a standard and a rubric?
Right. And we have it in the fall too. We have marching festival where we have that rubric.
I mean, all of that, right?
All of it.
So like what would it hurt to say, okay, I'm going to still put together my show style show, but I'm going to have the creativity that they're looking for. My band is going to be solid, even if I'm playing at a dynamic level of fortissimo. It's going to be balanced. It's going to be in tune. What is wrong with having a standard? There's nothing wrong with it. You can still do the style that you do and still have a standard. And the standard doesn't have to be blow that hole or play out of tune. Like being in tune is okay. I guarantee you, there is no newspaper that ever said a kid died from playing in tune. So what is wrong with having a standard? Like real talk.
Because it's hard. It's not easy.
It's not.
It's hard to get a group to do that. It's hard and we know that.
I'm gonna say, you know what's crazy? I'm gonna just say it's not fun. Like, I mean, in certain extents, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, what's crazy is I learned as a kid how to shoot a high note. Just go get it, because I want to do is crank. But you know how much skill it takes for me. You know how many in tune notes I'm missing to try to go get the shoot for the birds. You know what I'm saying? But when I play an in tune note, I'm looking like, dang, this it. You know what I'm saying? So my question, I think, what do y'all think would happen if they had like an all SWAC or all HBCU star-studded cast panel, or we get all the judges from the SWAC, all the judges from these popular HBCUs to be the judges of creating like a contest. That way it is more I'm saying appealing, but I ain't got to worry about it being the other people judging us. Do you think more band directors bring their group then, or what?
No.
Nah.
Here's the reason why. Here's the reason why I say no. And then I'm gonna let some other people get in. We got to wrap because I don't want to keep everybody too long. We got jobs. But no. The reason why I say no is because of this one reason. Nobody will agree. Think about it.
Everybody thinks their way is right.
Right. If you get Dr. Zachary, Prof. Gordon, Kedrick Taylor, Brian Simmons, Donovan Wells, all as adjudicators, everybody's going to have a difference of opinion on what the quote unquote standard is. It's just not going to happen. I mean, I'm just being honest. Right. Let me give you a really good example. And I think Rick brought this up on the show, but if he didn't, I'm gonna bring it up now because this is very true. This happened. Prairie View was invited to do adjudicate at a high school battle of the bands. It was Brown. I think it was Sean. It may have been Sean. I don't remember, but it was a couple of folks who were from Prairie View who adjudicated at the show. The band directors asked them not to come back because they thought that they weren't being fair. Because the band that won in the divisions were the bands who played with actually characteristic sound, who had a lot more energy and thought in their show, and it didn't sound like they were just trying to blow to the end of their bell. It's just what it is. Like, it's like this. I've watched a lot of Battle of the Bands, just like you have, Justin. Mm-hmm. Typically, if you have an all Southern panel, the more Southern-esque band is going to be the one that wins. It's not going to be the one that looks like Fam, because there's just everybody has a different idea of what the standard is. And that's not discrediting anybody. It's just I just think that things like that just don't work. They could work, but they don't work.
What I would be looking for out of it, because you're right, and I ain't thinking about that aspect. I would just be looking for the participation to come. Like right now, I'm the band director, high school band director, not even interested in festival, or don't even send the kids to festival. But let you put a name like, at least we introducing our kids more to concert music, because we want to go impress where we come from. Our former band directors, our university, at least the push to get there. You know what I'm saying? At least we'll get kids more interested or try to get there. I'm just trying, like, baby steps. You know what I'm saying? But I feel what you're saying. I just think that, I wouldn't mind giving it a try, but I ain't never think about it like how you said, there's more Southern this band on a more band.
I got you. As a matter of fact, we tried that as an experiment. We tried that. And anybody who's in the chat right now who's still watching, I can't remember what year it was. 2015. We did what was called the El Dorado Battle of the Bands in El Paso, Texas, at UT in El Paso, UTEP. The goal was to have a all HBCU Battle of the Bands judged in a core style fashion, meaning we had not core style judges specifically, but just looking at pageantry and looking at your general effect and looking at sound, balance and blend, your show, all of that stuff. Yeah, absolutely, Phoenicia. Where we almost melted because of the heat. It was hot as hell out there that day.
It sounded hot,
but
El Dorado.
It was the El Dorado Battle of the Bands. But listen to you when I tell you, there was an invite that was sent out to a lot of bands. 3 bands came. I think it was 3 bands. It was PV, Valley. It was PV, Valley, and somebody else. Y'all in the chat, huh? It may have been Alcorn. It may have been Alcorn, but we sent the invite. The reality is people don't want to get judged. People don't want to lose that top spot. People don't want to be told that they're not the hot stuff. And when you start taking it to a secondary level, it kind of is the same thing.
Bro, that happened in 2003. That happened in 2003. Defeat the Beat, and the top 3. Well, first off, FAMU was there. FAMU was not. They were an exhibition. They went as an exhibition. Then the night before, they entered in to the competition. You had Howard, A&T, FAMU, bunch of groups or whatever. It was FAMU 3rd, Howard University 2nd, and A&T number 1. And I remember being on that field when they made the announcements. Man, FAMU's face was like, what? Like, and people knew that there was a standard in terms of the way your show was supposed to be presented, and again, I think it's that people don't want to be adjudicated, and like was mentioned, it doesn't. People can't agree. You know what I'm saying? People can't agree.
That's sad, bro. But all right, man. I Till next time, I guess. It's just damn, like
Well,
I just thought that idea maybe can. I'm talking about for high schoolers. You know what I'm saying? Push the
yeah, I get you.
yeah.
But
I'm saying
let me
try
say
to.
this before you go, Justin. There are things out there right now. Shout out to brother Will Young. He has the Paris Battle of the Bands that he did this year. They had a really good turnout, you know.
Mhm.
And I would say go support that. But I would also say if you're serious about being adjudicated, but still wanting to do it for us, because this is what it was created for in the first place, do the Bands of America.
I never heard of that. Like, where I can find more information
So
about
I can send you the information, but basically, Bands of America is an organization that was really kind of started around the Blue Devils, blah blah blah, and it really catered to the core style, the core style side of things. This year, they decided that, along with help from not only Rick but my good brother Eric Prince, they have a show style um, division in Bands of America. They started the first show that they did was at Prairie View. The invite went out to all Texas bands, and only a handful showed up. Now, but because they're really pushing for it, not why I say Bands of America, U.S. bands. Sorry,
it.
not Bands of America, but U.S. bands. Um, they're now pushing it out to, I think they've added 3 more divisions, so they're going to do one, I think in is it not Georgia? I'd have to give you the information, but there are 3 more areas, 3 more divisions that they've added it to, and it's specifically for us. But you are going to be adjudicated, like really adjudicated, not they did the back being sweet. Let's give them some points. They're really going to look at your show and give you a fair adjudication across the board. And
Is it all the people adjudicating?
yes, matter of fact, Rick was one of the judges.
Gotcha.
I can. Rick was one of the judges. So I would say if that's what we want to do and that's what we want to push forward to, then fine. Go and put your programs in those. Those are the 2 options I'm going to give.
And Justin, I want to say there's an event called Night Beat that's in North Carolina. If you get a chance to go
I
there,
remember Night Beat.
that's oh my goodness, and you'll see small DCI groups, maybe 25, maybe 40 something people, sound like 400. And I'm telling you, it will like change your life. You know what I'm saying?
Night Beat in IGHT.
It's called Night Beat. Yes, it's called Night Beat, and it's in Charlotte, North Carolina. And Dr. Ruff at ANC used to bring a lot of us there because we'd have these huge bands and sound like this, but then you see 25 people on the field playing in tune, and how much that carries. It's physics that can be quantified, that can be measured, and it will change your life. And you'll be like, oh my goodness, how do they do this? And it's because of just the focus on the intonation and the tone, the intonation and the tone. And we see it with some groups, people think Cookman boring, but they sound amazing. And it's hard with that many people. When you got a lot of people, it's more chaos. People really can't agree, Right. So get a chance if you get to see one of those groups, and it will change your life, even though those players are playing a long time together. See, that's the difference. I was going to ask the TMEA, did North Texas play?
No.
Because they play at Midwest, and everybody's always drooling over them. But we have to remind folks that those are like masters and doctoral candidates, and they've been playing for 30-something years. They should sound that way. You can't judge your high school based off of that group. It's not fair.
If you go to TMEA and see some of these all-state groups,
right, I get it. Or they bring the Japanese group.
I'm going to go to TMEA. Look, he's like. So what high school that showed out this past year?
Say that again.
What high school showed out this past year at 10 million?
Oh man, they have schools from all around the state.
Okay.
So like they'll have small performances like within the major concert hall, but then they'll have these little small performances as you're walking through the convention center. So it you can see, and then we have our all state kids who perform that Saturday. And so all state is like all of the best kids out of the state of Texas.
That's
So
probably
out
a
of the
tough
state
group.
of Texas is all the top kids. So yeah, so it's pretty dope. So yeah, man, Justin, I would definitely invite you to check some of that stuff out. Have you ever been to a DCI show before?
No, man. Everybody was telling me to
Bro,
go.
You gotta
I
go,
watched
man.
on
bro.
YouTube. I
You
won't
gotta
go.
Nah,
go. Nah, it
YouTube doesn't
ain't.
know justice. YouTube
Of
doesn't
course,
know
I know
justice.
that. Yeah, shit. I know.
So yeah, man, I would definitely invite you up to all of those things, man, just so you can get a different perspective.
When is
And you can
like
see.
when is the next DCI shows coming up?
So they start in the summer.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the schedule yet. I generally start looking at the schedule. Where are we in March? So I generally start looking at the schedule around late May,
Mhm.
early June. But yeah, if you're ever in Texas, they usually do the Texas regional. And that
Is it
Texas
Houston?
regional be live. No, it's in
Where's
San
that?
Antonio.
All
San
right.
Antonio. Matter of fact, we'll keep you posted. We'll be here Wednesday, so we'll keep you posted.
Gotta go.
Gotcha,
You gotta go to the lot.
Yeah, man. Them lots, bro.
No.
But man, I appreciate you, Justin. Man, I always appreciate you. You always asking questions. I appreciate your support, man.
No problem
Appreciate you,
at all,
bro.
man. I'm
All
going,
right,
man.
go.
All right.
All right, Chuck. Same with you,
Appreciate you guys,
brother.
man.
Man, I always appreciate you and appreciate your support, brother. You just keep on fighting the good fight and holding it down, bro.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate you guys.
Man, anytime, anytime.
All right.
Man, this thing went supremely longer than what I thought it was gonna go, man. Hey man, but before we go, man, I just want to make sure that everybody who continued to rock with us, I appreciate you guys for rocking with us because I know it was a long time. But as I always have to do before we get out of here, please, please, please make sure that you go and pick up your merch. If you don't go pick up your merch, man, there's something wrong with you. All right. Oh, excuse me. I'm gonna put the link inside the description to go pick up your merch. There we go. We got it right there on the screen. So go and pick up your Talk That Talk merch, man. Everything you got. We got the t-shirts, we got the hoodies, we got all your needs for your family. We got the We the Blacks, we got your mask, we got everything you need. Go ahead and pick it up. Got some leggings. Hey man, if y'all want to see y'all women rocking around in some nice little leggings with the meat hanging out, it's all good. Go ahead and pick you up some leggings for your woman, man. But we got all your needs just right there for you. I'm gonna put the link inside the description. Man, why do I say description? Go ahead and pick up your Talk That Talk merch. We are unfiltered, unscripted, and we get uncomfortable. So go pick up your merch today and anytime you want to. All right. Before we get out of here, Derek, do you have any final thoughts? Anything you got for the culture?
Thanks for having me on the show. Other than that, man, I'm just out here learning a lot. Having these little conversations to take back into the real world. So, yeah, I look forward to being back on here.
Most definitely, and I know that we were supposed to have secondary sessions. We didn't get a chance to get it, man. I
Valentine's
actually,
Day, man. I understand.
I
Take
called
care
it off, man. I said, y'all boys go ahead and enjoy, have Valentine's Day and enjoy your Valentine's. So I didn't want to hold you guys, but we will definitely be back on not this Monday, but next Monday for secondary session. So y'all keep it locked here, right here at Passion is to get your secondary sessions on. With that, man, I appreciate everybody joining us, man. Everybody has been real. I appreciate you guys holding on, sticking in for the conversation. We will see you guys next Wednesday. You guys are awesome. Peace.